Nords are so serious about beards. So many beards. Maik thinks they wish they had glorious pubes like Khajiit. Now, let's take a look at them. You can't resist, can you?
Who's rapping? Overkeen. Dragons? I'm not overkeen. I'll dice them like a knife, slicing right through an aubergine. My dragon shout flow is sweeter than a soda stream. You won't believe your eyes. I'm like an overload of dopamine.
Welcome to the 6th edition of a Skyrim Addict Podcast Roundtable.
Hey, everybody.
We are the show who compares and contrasts Skyrim experiences through a lively roundtable discussion by playing the same quest with characters who have been randomly assigned drastically different attributes. Welcome, everybody.
Hey, Andrew.
Hello.
How are we all doing this evening?
Great.
Horrible.
Fantastic.
Colin almost had his identity stolen this evening, and his pizza was late. That's the worst.
Damn pizza.
Damn pizza. Alrighty, so we have a new participant. She actually has been doing some updates, and she was trying to join us last week, or last episode. I wish everyone would please join us in welcoming new participant, Kathleen. Hello, Kathleen.
Hey, Kathleen.
Hi, Kathleen.
Hello. Hi.
Kathleen, would you do this the honor of telling us maybe your name and a little bit about yourself?
Okay, this is Kathleen, and I'm calling from wonderful Pennsylvania. And I love this game.
How long have you been playing?
A lot. Since 11/11/11 at midnight.
Oh, wow. Signed up right away.
I stood in line. Yeah, I stood in line. 4 hours I waited in line.
Yeah, wow.
Holy cow. Could you tell us what platform you play on?
Really excited. I play on the PS3.
Oh, very nice.
Sometimes it gives me some issues, though.
Yeah, mine too. Do you ever have controller issues where if an enemy starts running on the screen and they have too many enemies in a dungeon or something, that your controller will get a mind of its own and like you'll jump randomly, or it'll push the upper left button, or it'll bring up your menu randomly? I get that problem all the time, and I can never understand. And it only happens when I overloaded with enemies in a dungeon, so I don't know if it's my controller freaking out, or the game freaking out, or the PS3 screwing up, but that's a problem I get into every once in a while. I have to whack the controller and kind of just let it settle down for a minute.
No, I don't have that. It's it will just stop playing. It will delete files, like my very first roundtable character, gone.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Oh, shoot, man.
Yeah.
I was devastated.
I've luckily never had a save file, deletion or anything like that. So I cross my fingers that sort of thing doesn't happen.
Like, I never play as a male, so it was the first time I ever played with a male character. It's the first time I've ever used any type of magic at all.
Oh, sword and board,
I was really excited to do it. Yeah, nice. And then no, not really, but I just got turned into a vampire, so I was all excited because I've never played as a vampire, and then gone.
I don't know why. I always, as soon as I see the your blood boils with the sunlight or whatever the warning is, I'm like, oh, fuck, where's my black soul gem? Let me get to Morthal real quick. Yeah. So we'll just go around and reintroduce everyone in case any listeners out there, this is their first episode. So, Colin, could you just tell us your name, your character's name, maybe where you're calling in from?
Yeah, hi, my name's Colin. I'm calling in from England. My character's name is Gunvar Oakenmaster, and he's a Nord.
Very nice. Welcome, Gunvar. We're looking forward to hearing your take on the Blades later this episode. Remind me to get into that a little bit. And Victor, could you tell us a little about yourself, sir?
Hey, I'm Victor. My character is Slythe Aaron. I'm calling from Massachusetts, U.S. Hi.
Welcome aboard. My name is Andrew. I'm calling in from Indiana. And I play my character named Mania Ababna. She's a red guard with a specialty in two-handed, restoration, and speech. Kathleen, what 3 attributes were you assigned?
I got light armor, illusion, and smithing.
And do you recall what levels you are at those 3 specific attributes?
I do, because I actually went and wrote everything down.
Oh, great.
So for smithing, I'm prepared. Smithing, it's 16. However, I went double legendary on it.
Double legendary.
Which I've never gone. Yeah.
I've never done legendary in anything.
No.
No.
Illusion 71, but I went legendary in that.
Wow.
As well. And my light armor is 106.
Colin, what were your attributes, sir?
The attributes is one-handed, sword, illusion, and speech.
What's your favorite sword that you use?
Dragon's Bane.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've been using that lately too.
Great. Victor, what do you have for your attributes, sir?
I have alchemy, enchanting, and two-handed. And right now, I don't grind much, so I just sort of let things come up naturally as I use them. I finally hit 100 in alchemy. I'm actually now at 102 because I use the uncapper for my mods. So I'm not going to go legendary in these. I'm just going to let them keep leveling up.
Nice.
The enchanting is still in the 70s somewhere, I think 77. And the two-handed is now, I just spent some time killing Draugr and where was it? Well, I wrote it down somewhere. I'll get to it later. But the two-handed is now just about 90, I think. So.
Oh. Do you have a favorite potion that you like to brew?
Wow.
Well, I use a mod called Alchemy Redone, and it adds some really cool things to the game. So there's one called Woad, potion called Woad, W-O-A-D, so I think it's an ancient, it's an old English word. But anyway, it buffs up heavy armor and heavy weapons and things like that. It's pretty cool. But the Alchemy Redone mod adds all kinds of really nifty alchemical ingredients, old, lore friendly, not necessarily Elder Scrolls lore, but old lore, ancient world type alchemical ingredients to the game. It's really nifty. It's a good mod.
Do you remember any of the ingredients off the top of your head?
Oh, acyprium and sulfur and powdered corundum and all kinds of cool things like that. It's very nifty.
That's really cool. How about enchantments? Do you have a favorite enchantment that you like to use?
Not really. I'm afraid. I usually, on all the weapons that I use, I throw soul trap on. With Skyrim, I was able to do dual enchantments pretty early on. I think it's nice. level 40. So, but you get a negative effect on the effectiveness of the enchantments with it. So it balances out.
Okay.
But I put soul trap on just about everything, and then I add fire or shock or ice or whatever, and of course with no health, my attributes no health, I put plus health, just enchantments on just about everything I can possibly wear. So I actually found a ring that upped my health 70 points. So I'm, without having ever added any levels to health, I can go well over 200 in health just with all the enchantments.
Wow.
So
very nice. Yeah, we were talking last episode about whether it's more important to have health restoration or actually health points. And I took your advice and I made up a couple new suits of armor, and I like the health benefit that I made sure that every piece that you could, I believe that it's armor, a ring, a necklace, and I don't know, there's a fourth piece. I don't know. It's not helmet. Must be
I can't remember either.
Must be gauntlets. Yeah. That must be the fourth piece. But I've got health boosts on everything now, and it makes a big difference. My character's a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
I was getting one-shotted every once in a while by the big baddies at the end of a dungeon, but not now. Not that I have my health boosted up.
Yeah.
It's pretty good stuff. Colin, have you gotten to 100 in any of your categories yet?
Illusion and one-handed. That was ages ago. It's only speech that's the bitch, but
that's tough.
Yeah, you got to grind that speech. I finally just last week maybe I sat down and I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm getting this speech up now. And it actually was the first of my 3 that I got to 100, but that's only because I sat there and was doing the grinding on it. I went through and I found every speech book. I had to go on the UESP to look up a few different categories, but I found the master and the expert trainers, and I looked up all the skill books, and then I went and did the whole loop where you can go pickpocket a guard in a city, and if you take something of not great value, so your bounty doesn't get very high, you can persuade them to look the other way if you have, I believe you have to have the persuade perk in the skill tree. But I got that skill perk, and then it had to be over 200 guards, no exaggeration. But I finally just spent all afternoon robbing guards. And in different holds, I would go to Whiterun and rob all the guards, and I'd go over to Rorikstead, rob all the guards, up to Morthal, rob all the people there, up to Solitude. The Solitude has, the two different faction of guards. They have, like, the Royal Guards and the City Guards. So that was probably the most fruitful city to go rob people in. But now that any time I go to a city now, everyone's like, hey, I know you. I have high bounties now, and it must not be that high because they don't arrest me on sight or attack, but everywhere I go now, people are like, hey, I think you robbed me once. So, Kathleen, do you have anything you'd like to get into before we launch into our adventures here, into our assigned quests? Do you have any interesting adventures or anything?
I wrote down where I've been, but as you know, I haven't played a whole bunch this past couple weeks, but I did write down some stuff. So let's see here. I don't know if you guys want me to go through everywhere that I've been, because I wrote down where I was, what kind of cave, dungeon, it is, and then what I found that's of value to me, like not money-wise or gem-wise, but like magical or enchanted items. And I think I went through some of it last playthrough.
If you have any cool places that you'd like to mention, we like to get into a couple of different things before we launch into the quests. Like, if you had any exciting events happen, any weird monsters that showed up, any cool bugs or glitches that were interesting or neat, or if you had any good treasures or finds or unique items, named weapons or anything like that. Do you have any of those?
Let's see here. Well, the one place, I'm just looking at my notes, and I have the Red Belly Mine at Shorestone. It's full of spiders. You have to clear them out. But it has a ton of ebony in it. So I cleaned up on the ebony, and I also got 1,500 gold for clearing out like 5 spiders.
Wow.
So that was pretty profitable.
Yeah, where was that again?
I was like, I'll take your money.
That's a good
Red
spider
Belly
to gold
Mine at
ratio.
Shorestone.
Red Belly Mine.
Yeah, I was in the middle of clearing out Red Belly Mine once, and I was halfway through killing the spiders when I got up a message saying, you have failed clearing out Red Belly Mine. It's like, what? And then it goes up, you have failed returning this package. And I was like, what? So I killed all the spiders. I go outside. I dragged 2 bears with me when I went into the store, and they just killed everybody outside. They killed the blacksmith and they killed the girl outside. So I failed both the missions.
I'll show you for making me fail the mission. I'll bring my pet bears along. That's really cool.
There was one other place that I don't. Oh, there was one more place that I don't know if I've ever found it before. And it was called the Moldering Ruins. And there was Deathhound and vampires outside. And then inside there was a vampire and a master vampire. I don't know if I've ever been there before. It's very small, and it just looks like it's falling apart.
Where is it?
I want to say it's by the Redwater Den, but I'm not like at 100% sure because I don't write down where they are on the map. I just ride my horse. Tell you guys about my horse. Ride my horse, go back home. But I have sad news. I lost Shadowmere somewhere.
That happened.
I dropped him off, went in. Well, I think there was a dragon when I went into a cave or a dungeon or what have you. And when I came out, gone. So he probably went and chased it down. But I don't know. Right? I have really tough dragons because I'm at level 58. So they're getting pretty tough. So I don't know if it was a little too tough for Shadowmere.
What are they labeled as right now? What kind of dragons are you getting?
I think I had an ancient dragon. Let me see here. I want to say I had a legendary dragon, but I don't think I wrote it down. But yeah, the ancient dragon, and I think I had like a frost dragon. You know, like your normals. But the one I had was really the last one I had was tough.
Just for a little bit of information
but
here,
I'm a bow gal, so it's tough.
I quickly Googled Moldering Ruins. It's spelled Moldering, Moldering. It's a small camp and a concealed cave overrun with vampires and their minions. The place consists of a small camp above ground and the cave underground. And the location, according to the map, it looks like it's right next to Rorikstead, sort of near the bend of the river near Karthspire and the Karthspire camp over there.
Down there. Okay.
On the west side of the camp. Oh, and it has a DG next to it, meaning that it's only accessible if you have the Dawn Guard installed.
Well, that makes sense if it's full of vampires.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's cool. I'll have to go check out Moldering Ruins, because I'm running severely short on cash. If you remember last week, I was telling you how I was getting my speech up by selling the 2 staves that I got from the Bard's Quest Haldir's staff. I was selling those and buying them back just over and over and over again. And every time you sell something and, you know, it is worth a lot less than it actually says that it's worth until you get your speech perk up more and more. And I knew I was losing money each transaction I was making, but my speech was getting bumped up. So I thought that was a good thing. But now that I am trying to buy training from, you know, the skill trainers and stuff, I realize, oh crap, 11,000 gold is not going to cut it when you're trying to train 5 levels and it costs 4,000 gold each time. So just know if you want to do that loop, you're going to need a lot more gold than I have had on hand. I was up in the 40s or 50,000s probably, and I'm, you know, back down to 3,000 or 4,000 now. So I'm running short on cash. So I need all your suggestions about where I can get some good money. That's why I wrote down Red Belly Mine. Well, anyone have any other...
I know that you did the...
Go ahead.
So did you do that treasure hunt on Solstheim? You had to have done that by now, right?
The Gildenhall Barrow?
With the Death Brand armor?
Yeah, I got the Death Brand armor.
All that Death Brand armor?
Yes,
and all that
I did
cached in there.
Yeah, I did do that. It totals about 6,000 as far in between 5,000 and 6,000 as far as I could estimate, which is a lot of gold that you can get out of one place. But I just need to start doing a bunch of. I wrote down Red Belly Mine because 1,500 gold in one go is pretty darn good.
Yeah, but that levels.
Oh, does it?
Will it be the same? Because I don't know what level you are. Does it level with your
around 50, maybe 40, 48, something 47, 48, somewhere in there. So I might get 1,000 out of there or something. But any suggestions you guys have for gold, go ahead and let us know on the Facebook page or at Skyrim Roundtable at gmail.com.
Are you guys hoarders?
Yes.
Do you guys hoard everything? So I'm not the only one.
No, I'll keep it for about a week or two, then I sell everything apart from what I'm wearing.
That's the smart thing to do. Victor, tell us about your hoarding. What you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I just keep everything, and then because I have a nice place to sit and store it at Heljarken, so I keep everything, and then when I need cash, I go and sell it. So I loot everything. That's always it's been a habit of mine in every game I've ever played, where you just take everything. And so I guess maybe it's a bad habit. I don't know. But
well, no,
I'll take 2 goals out of a silly burial urn. I check every single one
I do too,
around every corner. So I always end up lost stuff.
You have the distinct advantage of playing on PC, which means your load screens don't get too excessively long. I find that when I collect a bunch of stuff and just have an overabundance of items in my house, that my load screens get super long.
Oh, believe me, I played hundreds of hours on my 360, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
On this character, I gathered up a bunch of stuff, but I heard Colin talking about the load screen issue, or just how he likes to sell everything. Plus, I was trying to get my speech skill up a lot, so I sold everything in all of my chests. I sold all my armor. I sold all of the weapons. I sold all my potions. So now I'm at just a base of only things I need. And I'll let them build up every couple weeks, and then I'll go on a giant selling spree and get rid of everything. I'm just trying to keep my load screens as low as possible. So I'm trying not to be a hoarder. But in my other playthroughs, I totally just collect all the garbage I can. It's all just sitting around the house in a big mess in a pile in the middle of the room.
Geez, I thought you'd be the guy who has a chest for flowers and a chest for for gold and a chest for gems and everything.
Yeah, I do that now. But one of my earlier playthroughs, especially when I had all 3 houses built for the Hearthfire and stuff in all of those houses, like my load screens were like 5 minutes long almost. It was impossible. I would avoid going into a place where I knew there was a load screen until I knew I had to take a potty break or something,
Yeah.
I did that before I built all the houses, and I lost all my dragon priest masks. I don't know where I put them because I had every single dwelling in the game that you could possibly have, which, what is that, like probably 10 houses? I don't know where I put them.
Oh, no.
I was ransacking every single house. I'm like, I can't find them. So, I was a little miffed.
Speaking of the Dragon Priest masks,
that's it.
Speaking of the Dragon Priest mask, I collected all of them in a different playthrough not too long ago, and I took them all to the Labyrinthian and did the thing where you put them all in the shrine, then you go into the nether world there, and you get the 10th mask or 12th mask. I don't remember how many there are, but that was cool. And then I just kind of left there, and I forgot that I left all the masks on the shrine. I didn't collect them back again. So when I load that playthrough again up, I'm hoping that I can go back and grab all those again. Otherwise, they're just going to be sitting there on the shrine. I don't know if the frost trolls around the Labyrinthian will put them on and run around and just have a good old time playing Halloween in my masks, maybe.
I want to see that YouTube video.
No, that would be great. We should create a mod where we can play as a troll. That'd be fun. All right, so let's get into our quests here. We played quest number 13, 14A, 14B, and 14C. 13 was called Alduin's Bane. Kathleen, do you remember what happened in Alduin's Bane, and can you give us a brief description, just a general outline of what the quest entails?
Well, I have written down here, you read the Elder Scroll at the Throat of the World, and you learn Dragon Ren Shout from the ancient Nords, and then you fight Alduin, and that's what I have written down. So,
but what?
No spoilers.
Yeah, but
go ahead and get into it. What happened on your Alduin's Bane adventure?
Just beat him down, and then I guess he flew away, and then that was about it. I really didn't write down a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was like flying through this playthrough, and I apologize.
No, you're fine.
The guy flew through this playthrough.
I had some problems with Alduin's Bane.
Get into it.
Well, I gather I've looked it up a little bit. It's not necessarily PC or mod related. It happens occasionally. I think Colin, we briefly talked about it. But he became invulnerable. I could not kill him. I couldn't even dent him. I tried everything I had, and I eventually had to lose about 2.5 hours of play and go back to a save and come back through. But I don't know why it's never happened before. Of course, this is only the third time I've ever gone to this point in the main quest. I mean, I've played hundreds of hours of Skyrim, but I don't always do the main quest. So, but yeah, he was completely invulnerable. But eventually, I did him in, as one must. What is your technique with Alduin? What did you like to do to bring him down? Well, actually, I was trying to work up my two-handed, so I just Dragon Rend him down and then just go at him with something powerful. I was using my these are weapons from one mod in particular called Immersive Weapons, which is by the same guy who did Immersive Armor for anybody who's following mods. I have a thing called the Executioner's Hook, which is pretty cool with some enchantments on it, and also an axe that I picked up while I was doing the Wolf Queen Awakened quest there, where you have to kill a whole mess of Draugr Death Lords and things. I'm playing on Master, so there were tons of them in there. And one of them dropped this battle axe called the Wabbajax.
Nice.
It's very cool. It's a big double-bladed axe, and doesn't have any enchantments on it. So I'm gonna. But I had that up there with Alduin, so I was just running in there and hacking away.
Is the Wabbajack not the name of the staff that Sheogorath gives you?
Yes. Yeah, but this is the Wabbajax.
Oh, Jax.
Jaxe, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It is the same shape as the Wabbajack with that, mouth and stuff, but then the two blades of the axe stick out from the sides of it. It's kind of cool, yeah.
I love that Wolf Queen quest.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a very cool quest. This is only the second time I've done it, and actually it's a 2-part quest, so there was a very long pause between the 2 parts of it. It's a lot of fun. It's a good.
I don't
dungeon.
recall that one offhand, but can you give us a brief description, Colin, about the Wolf Queen quest?
The Wolf Queen quest is if you go into Solitude and you venture into the Blue Palace for any unknown reason, you will see a gentleman walking up to Queen Elisif, or Jarl Elisif, reporting that he's hearing strange noises and there's disappearances near the cave, near, where would it be?
It's Wolf Skull Cave, I think, isn't it?
Wolf Skull Cave, is it? And,
Yes.
yeah, so he's reporting to Elisif, and she says, all right, no, don't worry, I'll send 1,000 guards down to the cave to sort it out. And then old Falk Firebeard says, well, maybe a more tempered response. And then she goes, oh, okay, I'll leave it to you, Falk Firebeard. And then he goes, well, actually, I wasn't going to do anything. If you want to check it out, check it out. I wasn't going to do anything. He's always like that. He was probably drunk or smoking weed or something.
It's not very helpful.
Yeah, then you go down there and then you find out that these necromancers are trying to awaken Potema. Well, that's what she thinks. Then halfway through, Potema finds out they're actually trying to bind Potema to use her to power something else. But then she ends up breaking free when you kill everybody.
Very nice. I'll have to check out that quest. I'm probably have ventured through that before, but I'll have to look it up again. That sounds cool. Anyone else have anything for Alduin's Bane? Any trouble like Victor had, or any good stories, Colin? We haven't heard from you on Alduin's Bane yet. Anything interesting there?
You see, this is the worst thing. Is I've written out my notes and sort of like I've already sent them all into Blake to Hessa to put them through, and there's like a spoilers thing of what I went through. But no, there wasn't that too much trouble. I went up there, I fought him. I was in my Blade's armor. No helmet because it messed up my hair. I was using Dragon Bane, and I also like how you can, the call that it goes to the world, to the sky, and then it brings down the rocks and everything like that. I always like that. Clear sky is my favourite shout. Can get rid of that. So.
Oh, very nice.
Never thought of that.
I didn't think to use clear skies. That's very smart. Yeah, I actually
Right.
Alduin bested me once, and I had to reload and do it again, but it wasn't because Alduin killed me. It's because I got hit by rocks falling from the sky.
Huh.
Got hit by a meteor, and it killed me. And I've still been wearing my sissy bone mold armor, and I haven't enchanted it or anything. I've just been running around in that. But I did but I found some nice armor in my recent adventures, and I have enchanted it with some nice stuff. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Kathleen, anything else with Alduin?
No, not that I can recall.
Okay.
Just a pain, but
Yeah. And it says defeat Alduin, but you don't actually, you take him down and I guess you hurt his ego, but he just flies off again, and he goes to regroup and gather more strength for your final battle here in a couple more quests. So.
Run scared is what you're saying.
Yeah, he tucks his little dragon tail, flaps off. So let's go ahead and get into our next quest then, The Fallen, it is entitled. Victor, do you have any remembrance of what you need to do for the Fallen quest?
Well,
once you've
chased off Alduin, you end up having to talk to various people, Paarthurnax if you want, or Arngeir, or whoever, and to try to figure out where Alduin has gone and how to get to him. And they allow as how there's one place where, well, you might want to talk to one of his allies, one of the other dragons that Alduin has as an ally. And the only way to do that would be to capture a dragon. And so there's this place in Whiterun where you can capture a dragon. And that's what the Fallen Quest is all about, is finding a way to talk the Jarl of Whiterun into using Dragon's Reach, which is the ancient dragon capturing device. And that sort of leads into the what's the other quest called? The
Season Unending.
Season Unending, right. So I'll stop there. But you have to find a way of convincing him to allow you to use Dragon's Reach to capture a dragon.
Yeah, when you go to Dragon's Reach to ask Herr Bulgruff if he'll let you trap a dragon on his back porch, trap a D in his pee. He will say, "Hey, wait a second, we can't be worried about these dragons when we've got the Civil War going on." So that in turn will launch the quest called Season Unending. And Colin, could you give us a brief description of Season Unending and what's entailed with that quest?
Well, because Bulgruff is such a girl, no, it's two all girls, he just want to trap a dragon in there because it'll make him vulnerable to attack from either the Imperials or from the Stormcloaks to take his city, because he knows how powerful Whiterun is. So he says, can you set up a peace treaty or sort of like organise something of where you can sort of like so he won't get attacked. Call the peace treaty for a short time while we deal with the dragon situation. So you go, okay, you'll talk to the Greybeards because everybody respects them. So you go and talk to the Greybeards and you got to convince Arngeir to let them have the peace treaty there because Ulfric and the Imperials will respect the Nords. So then you go to Windhelm and you've got to convince Ulfric without wanting to chop his head off or sort of like burn him alive. Or, you last about 3 seconds before you want to kill him, so you got to so you get in there quick, you convince him to... but if you don't have good enough speech, you can't convince him. So you'd go there first, because it's closest, and then if you don't have a good enough speech, you cannot convince him. The only way to convince him is that you have to run all the way to Solitude, convince Tullius first, and then run all the way back to Ulfric, and then said, alright, Tullius is in, can you go now? So then you go, and then you go up to High Hrothgar, and then you do a peace treaty, and finally it gets sorted. So they have a calming off period.
That's cool. I did not realize that about the speech level, that you'd have to have your speech level high enough to convince Ulfric, because mine was already at 100 when I was doing this quest. But that's interesting that you have an easier time with Tullius than the hard-headed Ulfric. So this is actually a good time. We will go ahead and take a break for a few minutes. But before we do that, let me get into an email here that was submitted to our Skyrim Roundtable at gmail.com.
Yay, an email. Cool.
Yes, we actually got 2 emails. We actually had 3. I read one last week, someone who was looking to get into the Skyrim Roundtable American Fantasy Football League. So we let him in, and that was Casey. Another shout-out to Casey. Woot woot! Welcome to the league, Casey. But this email we got from Jenna Staller, or Staller, maybe it's pronounced. And Jenna writes, bored at work, just started listening to your podcasts, love them. I was wondering about joining the Roundtable and what it all entails. I love Skyrim, I play on PC, looking to start a fresh and interesting playthrough. I don't have a Facebook account otherwise, but I would certainly try and educate myself there before asking dumb questions. Thanks, and keep up the good work. Well, thank you, Jenna, and we're always looking for new participants for the Roundtable, and we would love to welcome you. We are just about at the end of Season 1. We have one more episode after this, and then we'll be launching into the Dragonborn quest for Season 2. So that would actually be a great time to jump in if you have any interest in doing that. We welcome you, and just go ahead and write us back, and we'd love to fill you in on how we're going to go about doing that. Any other words of encouragement there for Jenna, gentlemen?
Oh, totally. No, ditto. Please join.
To join up.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Awesome. And we have another email here from Brad Seeger, and I actually recognize that name. I believe that he's in the Facebook group, Brad. He says, "Hey, dudes. Hi. I was wondering how the Skyrim-based fantasy football works. I'm pretty interested. Loving the podcast, too. Keep up the good work. I like to listen whilst I play Skyrim. Is anyone able to record a Let's Play for YouTube? I would like to watch that. Who knows, it could be the start of a new channel. Unfortunately, I don't have the equipment to do so. Anyways, happy Skyrimming, Brad from the UK." And first of all, Brad, I just want to let you know that this is American football, fantasy football, if you'd like to get involved. I'm not sure how popular the NFL is in England. I know that I know that they play a game or two there now every year in London. Colin, how popular is the American football in England? You ever hear about it?
Yeah, we know about it, but it's usually on at about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
No, because I mean, if you called it National American Football, then we'd understand. But you keep on saying soccer, so
yeah. But I have had a couple of people asking, how I love fantasy football. How do I get involved? But then I come to realize that they're from the UK and they're talking about a totally different game altogether. And then when I inform them that it's American football, they say, "Oh,
Ew."
Yeah, exactly." So, Brad, I just want to let you know that it is American football, and it is a 14-team league. We actually have all 14 spots filled. But I am not opposed to including 2 more spots if we can find yet another person who would like to join in the next couple weeks. The season starts the first weekend of September. So if we can find one more person, then I'd be glad to invite you aboard, Brad, and that would be a 16-team league. I've never played in one that large, but I would appreciate the challenge. So if anyone else is interested, go ahead and hit us up at SkyrimRoundtable@gmail.com, and we'll get you involved with the Skyrim-based fantasy football league.
welcome back, Kathleen.
Hey, Kathleen's back. Good. I was on my email page.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, and I can see you again now, too. Cool. Well, you just came back in, and we are going to take a break real quick, and I'm going to run and go potty, and this will give Blake a nice place to break it up into a 2-part episode. So I'll see you all here again in 5 minutes. I'm not going to close the window. We're just going to let it run. So I'll see you back, and after a word from our sponsor.
The Emperor is nothing more than a puppet of the Thalmor.
You there! Mind your tongue. In time,
My tongue will wiggle-waggle
directly into your Emperor's ass.
Okay, well, I guess we'll get officially back to this round table garbage. So we were with Season Unending, and Balgruff says, I can't let you take my attention away from this war, because if I trap a dragon here, that's going to make us weak from a attack from the Stormcloaks or the Empire. So in order to do that, you must go talk to Arngir, or Ongir. We still haven't figured out how to pronounce that motherfucker's name. But you need to go talk to the Greybeards to see if they can help, have a truce, so we can get this dragon business dealt with. But when you go and you talk to Arngir, he doesn't really have a lot of interest. He said, we're not interested in the matters of these warring factions, and when you stop this war, the bloodletting will only begin as soon as you don't want it to, and it'll only be a brief pause and all the bloody warring that will be happening. So he is reluctant at first, but after you go and you speak to Tullius and Solitude, and then you go talk to Ulfric and Windhelm, then you come back and he says, "Oh, okay, now I'm going to be helpful. I'm going to stop being a jerk." So you go and you talk to everyone at the table there, and who is with us at this table? Who's joined in on the negotiations? Yeah, Colin, go ahead.
I was just going to say Elwyn and you can carry on with the...
There's Tullius is there. I mean, the Imperial delegation is basically Tullius and the legate, what's her name there, Rika, and Elisif, and then that Thalmor.
Yeah, there's a high elf there when you first get there. What happened with your guys' is because you actually have a couple different options, I believe, where it lets you dictate who is around the table. Did anyone have the option to keep the high elf there, to keep the Thalmor representative present?
I kicked him out.
Yeah, I wouldn't take
totally
the option if I could. I'd kick the Thalmor out any time.
How about you, Colin?
Well, Gunvar kicked her out. I didn't kick her out.
Gunvar did. Yeah, I also kicked her out. I was thinking because I knew everyone hated the Thalmor, so I was like, I'm going to see if I can keep her around just in case. But my blood boils for the Thalmor so deeply that I just couldn't handle having her at the negotiating table. So I also dismissed her from the negotiations.
I really have to play an Altmer sometime so I can actually pretend to like the Thalmor.
Yeah, I had that idea too. I was like, man, why do we hate these people so much? I need to play as a high elf sometime just so I can see what it's like from their portion of the story.
That was my very first roundtable character. He was an Altmer.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
So it was odd to play.
rest in peace, Mr. Altmer.
Rest in peace. Yeah.
We'll lay flowers on your grave, on your deleted save file.
So
Then
there's
I'd probably go take them because you can sell them.
Yeah, make a nice potion with them.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Victor.
Yeah, well, I was just say so. Ulfric is there, and actually, as much as I despise that odious piece of Nord crap, one of my favorite characters in the entire game is his sidekick Galmar.
I love his hat.
Yeah, Galmar's great. He's just so perfect. But he's at the negotiations as well.
Who did you have come visit, Colin?
I don't know whether you mentioned it.
Gunvar, sorry. Who did Gunvar have at his negotiation table, surprise-wise?
You had, I don't know whether you guys mentioned it. Sorry, I had to run out there for a second. You had Delphine and Esbern show up as well.
Exactly.
We did not mention that. And why are they there?
They are there because they know more about the dragon situation than anybody else.
Are they on a side?
No.
They're just there as representatives of their own interests.
Sure they're not. Yeah, right.
They're nice and innocent. Just a couple of Nords.
Yeah, just a couple of Nords.
Just a couple of Nords. Sounds like a sitcom. Just a couple of Nords.
They're just advisors to the Dragon Board.
out on the town, slaughtering dragons. Is Gunvar associated with the Blades in any way?
Just ever so slightly. He pops around to see them every now and then.
Do you ever go spend the night up at the temple? Or not temple, wherever they say Skyhaven? Yeah, it is the temple. Skyhaven Temple.
Yeah, he's been there quite a few times. He hasn't recruited anybody to Blades yet. But he's going to. He's waiting to deal with the situation at hand because everything's getting a bit of a rush on. And yeah, the dragons are a bit too big to ignore to be able to go run around and do little quests. So he has to take care of that situation first because that's going to help him take care of the main situation, the main problem of Skyrim.
What is the quest called where Gunvar would go recruit other Blades? Does it have a specific name?
It does, and I can't remember it. I think it's not recruit more Blades, because I think I wanted to say refilling the ranks or something like that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've only done that once, and I did three recruits I brought out to the Blades, but that was a long time ago. It was almost a year ago or more, so I don't really remember what all goes into that, but I believe you're just forming hunting parties, right, to go out and look for dragons. I believe that's basically what you're doing there.
Yeah, I mean, what it is nice too, like, you know, you can have all your, like, if you don't have a modded game, you can store your favorite 3 followers in one place. you can have 3 followers that you like you can have Mule, and you can have Lydia, and you can have Gisargo all in one place where you don't have to go around from that house to the Winterhold to grab it.
Oh, that's smart, yeah.
Are those your 3 favorite followers? Mule and Gisargo, and who else did you mention?
Lydia. Lydia's definitely favourites, but I wouldn't say the other 2 either. Were just names that popped into my head. Sorry.
Yeah. Gisargo is actually, he's more powerful than I originally had thought. Whenever you have any interactions with him, he's got a little magic behind his paws.
Yeah, totally.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead, Andrew. Let's see what your next thought was.
No, I was just going to ask if anyone had any good news come out of their negotiations.
Well, I was. It's interesting. This is, as I said, only the 3rd time I've actually gotten this far in the main quest. So, and the first 2 times I just sort of banged through this section because I thought it was kind of boring.
Super boring.
But I thought about it this time and started really kind of playing with the choices, and it's very complex. I don't know how much of a programming challenge this particular part of the quest was for the developers or not, but it's extremely complex. And if you read the UESP entry for this particular quest, it goes on and on and on and on. And I mean, there's so many branches. And so I sort of played with it, and I'm too old to remember all the things I did, but if you start playing with, this person wants that, but that person wants this, and it took me this time probably 15 minutes or so, maybe, or more, to sort of work through all the little options and who stays. And then Esbern gives this impassioned speech, about the, and of course that's great because Max von Sydow is awesome, and I'll listen to Esbern talk anytime.
What's going on?
Yeah, and so, but it's a really fun. I had a lot of fun just sort of playing with the different options this time.
Just real quick for people who aren't knowledgeable like me and the actor, I've heard you guys bring this up last episode. Who is the actor who does Esbern, and what is his background, and why is everyone so impressed with this person? Who is that?
Go ahead, Colin.
Max von Sydow is an elderly gentleman now, but he played Ming the Merciless in Flash Gordon, and probably has some of the great.
I just watched that the other day.
Oh, nice.
You're even a better woman than we thought, Catherine.
Did you know you were listening to Esbern? Did you recognize the voice, or did you know that beforehand?
I actually watched the credits for the game. I do for all the Bethesda games just because I want to know who's doing the voices. So you can watch the credits, and it tells you who plays who. So I did know beforehand. But
how far do you have to play in Skyrim before you see credits roll? I don't know if I've ever seen credits roll.
It's you can actually look at them right at the title screen.
Okay, cool. Any other famous actors in the Skyrim voice acting world that you know of?
Not as famous as Max von Sydow.
Man, that's the only one that I remember.
Yeah, he's the only sort of
the only one that stands out to me.
Yeah, he's a character actor who's been around for decades. He's done all kinds of stuff.
I can give you a good couple for Oblivion, but not for Skyrim.
Well, get into it. Who was in Oblivion?
You had Jean-Luc Picard.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
And he was the Emperor. And then you had, was it probably one of Victor's favourite actors? Oh, no, sorry, it would be Brian's favourite actors. Or was it Sean Bean? What's his name? Sorry, who's the protagonist in Oblivion?
I've never played it. I don't.
Yeah,
I have it, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, basically the bastard son of the Emperor. Martin Septim.
Martin Septim, yeah.
Yeah, it's played by Sean.
And Sean Bean is he's in Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, the first one, right?
Yeah, he dies. Oh,
right.
Spoiler alert! Come on!
Oh my God, no!
Have you not seen Fellowship of the Rings? It's only 15 years old now. Jeez. Spoilers. Ugh.
I was gonna watch it tonight for the first time. Thanks.
Oh shit! It's all ruined now.
Bruce Willis is a ghost.
Ugh, jeez. The wrong son died.
I'm gonna take it back.
Okay, there's some voice acting. This has been voice acting talk on the Skyrim Roundtable. Welcome, everyone. So, any good negotiations happen? Let's get into those options a little bit, Victor, that you were talking about.
Please don't do that to me. You're dealing with an old brain here. I don't remember things like that.
I just want to see what everyone else decided, because I wrote down a couple of the different options, but maybe I didn't notice everything, all the intricate details that were actually happening. The first one that I can remember is that I believe it was the Stormcloaks. They wanted control of Markarth. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's where it starts, yeah.
Okay, so that's where the branching starts to happen. Did you side with the Stormcloaks, Kathleen? Did you let them have Markarth?
I let them have whatever they want because the Imperials were going to cut off my head. So I don't give them anything.
That's a very good call. So do you play with that?
Can help it.
Do you play with that thought in mind also for the Civil War quest when you're making those decisions for which faction to join?
I do. I've only done the Civil War quest once, and not with this character.
Me too. I've only played it once. A little sneak peek, the Civil War quest will be Chapter 3 or Season 3 of the Roundtable. Colin, how about you? Did you side with the Stormies and let them have the Markarth?
I let them have Markarth. Tullius wanted Riften, but one, I didn't want him to have Riften. And two, if he does get it, that means Maven Blackbriar becomes Jarl of Riften, and nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. I noticed that was the result, and I was like, shit, I wouldn't have taken that choice had I known that Maven was going to be the Jarl out there. Just I don't want her to be in charge of Riften.
Yeah, so I gave Tullius Winterhold.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And isn't that where the Stormcloaks are centered out of?
No, that's Windhelm.
Oh, Windhelm. Okay, that's right. So, but how is Winterhold a strategic foothold? It's a half-demolished town with one longhouse and the rest of a burnt-down city.
He actually says it's right near where their supply lines are for Windhelm. Supply lines run through there for some unknown reason to go to Windhelm, and they say they can control it from there, and that's why he accepts it.
That's interesting because Windhelm seems like a port city, have that major river going there, and then your throughway over to Solstheim is actually from the docks there, so you would imagine that their supply line doesn't really need to go through Winterhold.
Plus, Gunvar basically owns the power in Winterhold anyway, so given to him doesn't really do anything because he's got a whole bunch of powerful mages in there to take complete control of the area if he needs to.
Very nice. Are you the president of the Mages College or whatever?
All singing, all dancing.
Attaboy. That's cool. So, you actually made a different decision, and you let... Oops, there goes Colleen again. You let the Stormcloak... No, you let the Empire have Winterhold. Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting. So, does that change the situation with Riften at all? What's the consequences of that?
With Riften, it doesn't. That stays Stormcloak.
Okay. And does it change anything else besides that?
Not that I know, apart from the Jarl of Winterhold, but
okay.
you never meet him anyway, because you just go straight onto the college.
Okay.
I have no idea what he looks like.
Yeah,
I've done his quest a couple of times. He's kind of a minor player in the whole thing.
I mean, it used to be the capital, didn't it?
I believe so.
And that's why he wants the helm back, so he can get respect or something.
Well, it's for respect. I don't remember it being the capital. It was certainly a much bigger city, but the capital of what of
Skyrim.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I think he says it. I can't be on.
I vaguely remember something, but I could be totally wrong. I vaguely remember that though. So
shows you what I know.
Another consequence I have written here, if you give the Stormcloaks Markarth, is that the Empire gets Riften, but you have to pay for a slaughter that the Stormcloaks did. What does anyone remember this slaughter? What they're talking about there?
Karth Wasten.
Oh, there you go.
Something happened at Carthwasten, where the Stormcloaks must have slaughtered all the guards or something.
Yeah, it's funny. In the UESP, it says Stormcloaks pay compensation for a massacre, and then in parentheses, only if one has occurred. So I guess that means that wherever you are in the game, if certain things have happened.
I've been to Markarth yet. I haven't even broken the city. I haven't been to Carthwasten. I told you that Alfred Stormcloak was an asshole.
He commanded the siege on Carthwasten. So, do you think that the slaughter on Carthwasten could rotate to different cities based on whether a slaughter has happened or not? That's interesting, Victor.
That's what it's implying. That's what it's implying. There's nothing. There's no other information on it. That's all. It's the other options in that phase are the Winterhold is given to the Imperials and Dawnstar are given. Yeah. So. And I don't honestly remember what I did. I think the way I did it, I wasn't really paying as much attention to detail as Colin does, or consequences, I should say. So I just sort of picked options, whatever they were, and Tullius was really getting on my case for being a Nord sympathizer, which was kind of distressing, but just the way the negotiations were going, I just sort of kept picking a different option, something that I hadn't picked before. So I think I ended up giving Winterhold to the
Empire.
To the Empire, yeah.
Cool. Well, I definitely gave Markarth to the Stormies and made them pay for their siege on Carthwasten. I felt weird about giving up Riften, though, so I don't know why I went that route, but I made them pay for their siege on Carthwasten. And that's the truce that I negotiated. Were there other branches in there? Were there other choices to be made?
Well, again, I'm looking at the...
I can't remember.
I'm looking at the UESP page, and it's pretty complicated. There's all kinds of possibilities, yeah.
That's funny, because I just remember like two or three different choices there to be made.
As far as I could see, you could... the Stormcloaks want... I think they get Markarth no matter what. That's where it starts from.
Yes, I think so. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
You give them Markarth, and then if Tullius says, well, we want Riften in change instead, and then you go, all right, here you go, you have Riften. And then Ulfric pipes up again, and then he wants something else for something. But it was
big kitty.
Willow is interested in the game.
You got a Khajiit in your lap.
Yes. Well, oh no, that's a sad story. Our Khajiit died about 3 months ago.
Oh no.
That's one reason why we have Willow.
Aww.
He seems happy. I think I can hear him purring.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. He's a cute kitty cat.
He's great.
No.
I thought Kathleen was getting her belly rubbed.
Yeah. No, Willow is a gift. He was born right around the same time that Harold died, so he's a little bundle of joy.
Yeah, good kitty.
If you're into cats, anyway.
Is he a good trader?
Yeah,
yes.
We got two little Khajiitis here.
Oh, Khajiitis, that's cute. Yeah, name one Jazargo.
I always call my little Khajiitis.
Very cute. So does anyone have anything else with the negotiation table? Any other options?
Yeah, you can't chase down Elenwyn and find her and chop her head off.
That's too bad.
She leaves too early. No matter if you strip down to your undies and run at full pelt down that mountain, you can't find her. Trust me.
Where does she originate from? Would she be at the... Would she go back to Solitude, or
she'd be in the embassy behind that locked door.
The Thalmor embassy? Yeah.
No matter how many times you go back to the embassy and how many times you kill those guards outside, she won't come outside.
I've never been back to the embassy. Can you go back into any of the buildings after you've seen? Oh, cool.
And you have to break through the front gate, and then you can kill everybody there, go into the barracks, kill everybody there, but you can't find a key to actually get back into the embassy.
No, that's too bad. It's always fun to go on a slaughter fest every now and again.
Yeah.
And so I figure we can go ahead and get into our last quest of the evening, number 14C, entitled Parthernax. Colin, what happened with Parthernax? What are your instructions here?
Well, for me, because I hadn't been to where is it, Carspire or the temple in a little bit. Just when I was finishing season unending, before I was supposed to run outside and chase after Ellenwyn, what's her name? Delphine stopped me and actually made mention of the Parthernax situation standing in High Hrothgar.
So right after the negotiation, she actually mentioned it to you in front of Arngeir. Wow,
telling me that
that's bold.
She knows about Parthernax, and according to her and Esbern, due to the crimes that he's committed, he deserves to die.
Well, give us a little background on Parthernax. What are those crimes? What is his relationship to the whole story? What's happened there?
He was either serving or actually possibly the right-hand man of Alduin, performing serious war crimes with them and the dragon cult. So, but then he, I don't know whether Kyne convinced him to betray Alduin, or he betrayed Alduin, and then Kyne came to him to ask him to teach the Thu'um or to shout the voice, whatever it was, to humans.
And the humans that were originally instructed, I assume, were the Greybeards. Is that correct?
No, they were the ancient Nord heroes.
The ancient Nord heroes.
Haken One-Eye, Gormlaith, and what's his name? It was the old guy.
I can't remember.
The guy with the scroll.
Yeah, I don't remember. Gormlaith is the one that gets killed during the cutscene there.
Yeah. So, what are the relationship between the Greybeards and the ancient Nord heroes, then? Why are the Greybeards gifted with this shout?
They learn it. They're not gifted with it, I don't think.
They just learn it, huh? Without permission?
No, it's isn't it Parthernax who sort of establishes the way of the voice?
It was Jürgen Windcaller who established it.
That's right, Jürgen Windcaller. Sorry, yeah. Okay.
I know Parthernax taught the way of the voice, like he teaches and trains in the way of the voice, like it meditates on those words. Me and Brian were talking about the last time.
Right, okay, yeah.
And he was, Parthernax was the one who first taught humans how to shout, but I don't know whether it was just the Greybeards, but I'm pretty sure it was just like the Nord warriors to help them fight back.
Okay. And he taught Jürgen Windcaller then? Who remind us what Jürgen Windcaller is and what his relationship was then.
I'm not too sure. The only thing I picked up was from the tablets on the way up. He went to the Battle of Red Mountain and got his ass whooped, I think. And then he went off and studied for 7 or 8 years or something. And then he came back again and then prevailed over everybody. Or maybe he failed somewhere else and came to Red Mountain and then won. I'm not too sure. But, no, I'm not 100% sure on the law.
Oh, that's pretty accurate, Colin. That's I'm just looking at the UESP page right now, so that about sums it up.
Cool. You got a good memory on you, Colin. And just a reminder, the Jürgen Windcaller was the temple you had to go get the horn from that Delphine had stolen without your knowledge previously. For everyone out there.
Yeah, but you look damn sexy doing it, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like her.
So, Colleen, could you describe to us your Parthernax experience? Kathleen, sorry.
It's okay.
Called you the wrong name.
I know. Combining both of us. I really don't have anything else to add. I mean, you shout at him and show him that you are the Dragonborn, and that's about it.
The actual description in the adventure log says, kill Parthernax. Did you go kill Parthernax?
No, I won't kill him. I save him. I don't like to kill him.
He's a good friend. And there she goes again.
Wow. Oh, boom.
So, Colin, did you kill Parthernax?
Not yet. I know it was this, and I'm sorry, and I know these are the quests that we're supposed to be doing in this section, but I can't complete that one right now because it won't make sense. If that makes sense.
Well, of course, because I mean, we don't. The quest doesn't say you have to kill Parthenax. It just says you have a choice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I choose not to as well.
At this particular moment in time.
You're implying that later Parthenax is toast.
But there's, that's the season finale.
Very nice. Yeah. I had some interesting bug happen at this particular juncture of the quest. I went back up to the Throat of the World where it says kill Parthenax, and any of my other playthroughs, I'd always let him live because he seems like a very nice guy, and basically the Blades are saying you must go kill Parthenax because of what he has done in his previous life. As a bad guy, he's done all these atrocious war crimes and everything. So he must pay for his bad deeds. And I'm of the opinion that bad deeds are bad deeds, yes, but in the meantime, he has brought so much knowledge and power to people that maybe bad past deeds should be forgiven.
Nobody has seen him in over 100 years. Before you go up there.
Yeah.
He hasn't trained anybody, he hasn't talked to anybody in over 100 years. So what has he been doing all the way up there? Who's he been helping out for all those years?
Oh, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe he helped bring knowledge to the people in the way of the voice at one point, 100 years ago, a couple hundred years ago.
It's the Greybeards?
Yeah, I guess.
What have they been doing to help Skyrim?
They've been sitting up on their high perch, not, ignoring everybody, I guess. So in that case, Colin is implying that Parthenax does deserve to die.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yes.
Well, Gunvor is speaking in my other ear here. Sorry.
Yeah, he is.
I'm going to ring my ear hole out.
Yeah. But actually, we had a brief conversation in the Skyrim Addict Facebook group page. I said Parthenax to kill or not to kill, and we had a bunch of people chiming in. But Michael David, the leader of the Skyrim Addict podcast, said, I only killed him once. It's like killing Yoda. And I can see his point. Like he has you meditate on words, and he seems helpful at least to you. So this war criminal, yes, I see that, but at the same time, he's being very helpful to remedy the whole situation. So if you kill Parthenax, does that prevent you from, remedying this whole dragon scenario that's happening in Skyrim at present day?
Well, I guess we'll have to find that out.
Guess we'll have to find that out. But my interesting glitch was, I had mentioned that, is that I saved right before I went up to Parthenax, just because I wanted to be able to revert to the save in case it turned out to a different way that I didn't want it to happen. Because I've never actually attacked Parthenax before, and I kind of wanted to see what would happen. So I went up, and I talked to him for a minute, and then I smacked him in the face a couple times with my... I just got a new Warhammer. I found an ebony Warhammer, and I enchanted it with a couple of different good things. But he just stood there. I smacked him with Dragon Rend so that he lifted up off the air and then landed immediately in the same exact spot on the word wall there. And I just started smacking him in the face over and over and over again. Well, his health went all the way down, but nothing happened. He didn't die. He didn't move. He didn't say anything. I tried to talk to him. He wouldn't talk back. And I just kept smacking him in the face. Well, I checked my skill tree level, and the meter on my two-handed was just going up and up and up and up and up. So I just continued to smack him in the face, and I got up 2 levels on my two-handed, which is one of my 3 assigned attributes. So I had no problem doing that. I thought that was pretty cool. But he wouldn't die. So I was like, I'm really confused here. So I went to the UESP and just looked up this quest just to see what different bugs were or whatever. And I had evidently gotten a bug. So it said, if you actually want to kill him and he's not dying, ask your follower to attack him. So I told Ogal, who is my orc follower, I told him, have a swing, buddy. Go attack the big P and see what happens there. So that also didn't do anything, but I also saw another hint in the UESP that said, if you fast travel away, that will cause Parthenax to die. So I fast traveled away off the top of the throat of the world, and as soon as it reloaded to the new screen, it said, Parthenax killed, quest completed, or whatever it says there. But I wasn't contented with that. I thought it felt weird and buggy. So I reverted back to the save file right before all of that happened, and that's where I'm at right now. But I backed out of all that leveling I did for my two-handed, but I thought that was a good grinding loop there, just to have Parthenax there not dying, but it counted towards my two-hand. I thought that was a really good grind. So that's a glitch to look out for. That's the only weird glitch that happened to me in this episode so far.
Yeah, I didn't get any glitches, I don't think.
Oh. Well, I had mentioned some good armor that I had gotten into. I have adventured up to Solstheim a few times. I also had mentioned that I'm low on gold. Well, because of the speech perk that I was trying to boost up my speech skill. So I needed more gold. So I've been adventuring in Solstheim a little bit, and there's the quest in Gildenhall Barrow, where you can go get all the Deathbrand armor, and then it lets you into Gildenhall, and there's that hall just filled with gold. But I went through and I got the Deathbrand armor. Has anyone else had the Deathbrand armor before?
Yeah, I've had it once.
What does that do for you, Victor? Do you remember what the benefits of Deathbrand are?
He loves doing that.
Yeah, he does. I think... No, I don't remember all. Isn't one of them water breathing?
Yep.
And there's maybe some load carrying. I don't remember. That was my 360 playthrough where I got the Deathbrand. I haven't even been to Solstheim with Slythe yet. In fact, I just started Dawnguard. So,
nice.
And so the 360 was the last time I actually got the Deathbrand. So it's been a while.
I haven't even checked into what each piece does, but I do recall that if there's some specific perk that if you have all the pieces and are wearing them at once, I think it levels something up considerably well. So I wore the armor. Familiar. I wore the armor around for a little while, but then I decided that since I also had a full set of the carved Nordic armor, that I would go give my enchanting a little try. Where can you get the carved Nordic armor? Is that also only obtainable from Solstheim, or can I get that anywhere? I don't even remember where I picked that up.
Bandit Chiefs.
Bandit Chiefs have
Yeah,
that?
definitely.
Okay.
Bandit Chiefs have it. Is it a Dragonborn add-on? Yeah. Okay. I'm getting, and I don't know if this. I assume this is a mod somewhere, but I'm getting, or maybe it's not, a glacial crystal armor, which is similar to the Stahlrim. It looks just like Stahlrim. But it's you can get it outside of Solstheim, and it appears on Bandit Chiefs in various places. I think it's immersive armor, so that's where it came from.
Do you enjoy the appearance of the glacial armor? No,
it's okay. I'm wearing Boethiah's ebony mail.
I like that the poison damage crouch.
Yeah. That's. But that's because Slythe is a disciple of Boethia. So,
and you said you did get your the glitch all figured out that you had.
Oh, the Boethia glitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
But you have that all remedied, right?
Yeah, I had to give it a little nudge, I'm afraid, but that's something I don't normally do. But that one I needed to give it. I had to. I felt like I completed all the requisite things, but I had to nudge the quest via the console.
Yeah. Well, I decided to take my new carved Nordic armor or Nordic carved armor. I don't remember how it's actually phrased, but I took that to my enchanting table, and I was just playing around trying to come up with good different combinations. But I decided that because of Victor's suggestion last episode of adding Fortify Health, not the restoration speed, but just the actual hit points to my general overall health, I thought that would be a good idea. So I enchanted my helmet. I couldn't really find anything useful for my helmet, but since Restoration is one of my 3 attributes, I put on Fortify Restoration, and the only other useful thing that I could find that putting on my helmet would do is lockpicking. So my helmet has Fortify Restoration and lockpicking. My armor is Fortify Heavy Armor and Fortify Health, because it's heavy armor, so I thought that'd be useful, and I'm looking for anything that can boost my health. The boots, I had to put Muffle on because I struggled so long looking for that damn Muffle enchantment.
Yeah, totally.
So I put Muffle and Carry Weight, and my other option was two-handed. I had a hard time deciding whether I was going to do Carry Weight or two-handed, but I settled on Carry Weight. I think I kind of should have gone with two-handed.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah,
I've never gone for any of the carry weight buffs. It just doesn't.
Especially you and me, Victor, since our stamina is super big now. My stamina's in probably 500 or whatever now.
Yeah, I'm almost at 500 now, and so I can carry a ridiculous amount. I'm almost 700 pounds.
Yeah,
which is
crazy.
Totally stupid. It just seems it seems like cheating almost.
And it just promotes the bad behavior of being a pack rat. You just pick up everything and just
that. And my horse, between my horse and me, we're carrying close to a ton of junk.
We got 2,000 pounds going here.
Yeah.
So with my gauntlets, I also had the option of two-handed, carry weight, and heavy armor. So I went with heavy armor and carry weight again. So I'm going to be carrying probably 500 to 800 pounds by myself here before too long. And I also picked up a shield. Even though I'm a two-handed guy, the shield probably wouldn't do me a lot of good. I would hardly ever use it unless I take my Warhammer down in order to restore myself and pop a shield up at the same time, maybe. But I've got Fortify Health and Resist Disease on my shield because those damn vampires, when you add the Dawn Guard on, you get vampires all over the place. And I don't know if their disease specifically is helped with the Resist Disease enchantment, but that's my only hope, because I've had to cure my vampirism 3 times already in this playthrough. I'm tired of going to Morthal. Fuck that place.
That's what I get for curing your lycanthropy.
Yeah, no shit. I was like, I should have just stayed a werewolf, or maybe I'll go back to being a werewolf eventually. Cause
it's funny. I finally, like I said, I finally started Dawn Guard, and I went to the castle. I took Serana to the castle, and I was talking to Harkon, and I've never played a vampire before, so I'm sitting there, with my finger, trying to figure out what to do. Should I become a vampire? And I waited too long, and the thing just advanced, and he kicked me out of the castle.
Timed out on it. Oh no!
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, I don't get to sit here. But
get out of here!
Yeah, he said, "You're out of here." So that was the end of my choice of being a vampire.
Oh no, he won't let you go back in? That's terrible.
I don't know. I haven't tried. I thought, well, I guess I didn't really want to be a vampire after all. So
yeah, if you had to think about it that hard.
Yeah.
So anyway, I also had a ring I enchanted with health and heavy armor, a necklace also with health and heavy armor, and I picked up an ebony warhammer at some point. I probably picked it up off of a dead Draugr Death Lord or something in one of the dungeons. But this is also an adventure I got into on Solstheim. I enchanted it with the Chaos enchantment and Fiery Soul Trap.
I love Chaos. That's a great enchantment.
Yeah, can you tell us about Chaos enchantment, Victor?
Well, that's the reward you get for killing General Bloody Blah in Fort Frostmoth after you've I can't remember his name, but it's one of the side quests. Captain somebody or other wants you to figure out why all these ash spawn are attacking and spawning, and eventually you end up at Fort Frostmoth and kill the general who I forget how he was kept alive after the last battle.
No, was it Neloth's assistant who was experimenting with heart stones on him or something like that?
Is that what it was? There was some way he died and should have died, but didn't, and still thinks that he's fighting the battles, and that's why he's generating the ash spawn.
That sounds familiar to me.
Wasn't he in Morrowind?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a carryover from one of the previous Elder Scrolls games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is Solstheim in the country of Morrowind? Is that how that works?
They were talking about this on the Academy. You had Ben on there, and they were talking about this. It was a great episode as well. If anybody's out there, listen to that. It was awesome. I think Michael's redone it as well.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to listen to it since then.
So was it Solstheim belonged to Morrowind, then the Nords annexed it, and then later on, after the Red Mountain erupted, then for some unknown reason, the Nords just gave it back to him. They said, hey, there you go, you can have that, seeing as what happened over in Morrowind, you can have it.
Yeah, couldn't possibly be. Now it's covered with ash, so the Nords don't want it anymore.
Hey!
Well, the damn ash spawn, they're tired of dealing with them.
That was an act of generosity.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to disenchant that hammer. I love that hammer too much. The cudgel.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it the Champion's Cudgel or Cudgel, however you pronounce that?
Cudgel,
Champion's Cudgel. You can't disenchant something that pretty. That pretty.
Oh, no. Well, you're right. I disenchant it and immediately use it on a sword or a battle axe or something, but yeah.
Yeah, I put it on my Ebony Warhammer along with the Fiery Soul Trap, so I get I don't know if it stacks or not, but I'd like to pretend that I get double fire damage plus Soul Trap. And what is the actual enchantment on the weapon? Do you know, Kathleen? Have you ever had the Chaos enchantment?
Actually, no, I haven't. So this is like all new to me. So I'm kind of excited to go.
Yeah, go to Solstheim and get the Chaos enchantment. Colin, can you remind us what the enchantment is on the Champion's Cudgel?
You have a 50% chance of inflicting frost, shock, and fire damage, I think.
Yes, I believe that is correct. All three of them, and I think it kind of rotates, but you get a 50% chance of doing either fire or frost or shock damage. I've never seen it do all three at once, but you can tell by what, if you hit your guy, your opponent, and he catches on fire, then of course that was the fire one, or the cold fumes come off, that's the icy one, or if he glows purple, that's the shock damage. So that's a really cool enchantment that you get all three onto one weapon. So when we go to Solstheim for Dragonborn and the next chapter of the Roundtable experience, you'll probably run into that, Kathleen. So keep your eye out for Fort Frostmow.
Yeah, I was trying to see. I've been there before, but I don't recall. I've only been there once, so I was trying to save that little nugget for our next season. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to go over there and spoil it yet for myself.
Well, that's good. I'm bad about that.
I really like it over there.
I do like it. I was in a chat room the other day, or just watching someone's comments, and people were saying, "Oh, Solstheim is boring. There's not much there. It's not very big. Blah blah blah." And I was like, I love Solstheim. I really like the layout and how different the environment is from anything in Skyrim mainland.
Yeah, it's very Morrowind.
I do remember tearing up those little. I love tearing up the little Reeklings that are over there. I do remember that.
Oh no, I love the Reeklings. I go and
kind of things.
Oh, I help them out at Thirst Mead Hall.
And help them?
Oh, totally, and make them my followers. Yeah.
See, that sounds like the best time. Like you're in the Wizard of Oz, and then you turn the Munchkins into your little minions of death.
Great.
Or something.
I love the Reeklings.
For some reason, I don't know.
Maybe I'll do that this time.
I need to look it up and see how it's accomplished, but I know that you have to go to the Thirsk Mead Hall in order to accomplish this, but I still haven't figured out how you make them your minions. But we'll get into that when we get into Solstheim.
Yeah. I actually, just a quick aside, at the end of the Wolf Queen quest, after you've defeated Potema for the final time. I have gotten the Shield of Solitude before, but I'd never actually done the quest at this level, and I'm almost level 50 now. And it's a really good shield when you pick it up at a higher level. It's a 30% magic resistance and a 35% increase in blocking. It's a pretty good shield. So that was a nice little surprise.
How does a shield work into your playthrough as a two-handed character? Do you ever find yourself using a shield?
Well, yes, I'm not always using the two-handed. So,
Naughty.
Yeah. But I've always liked sword and board, so I kind of revert to that fairly frequently, and it's this using the two-handed this playthrough has my blocking, frankly, is not what it normally is. Usually my blocking is very, very high, but I'm still only like level 42 or something in blocking because I just don't remember to block with the two-handed weapon.
That's tough to remember sometimes.
You can, but so I tend to sort of dash in with the power, slash and all that. So anyway, it was nice to grab that shield, and I can go back and use the Dragon Bane or one better katanas that I have.
Yeah, when I was doing my recent enchanting party, it was actually just a couple hours ago, right before we started recording. I enchanted my Ebony Warhammer again with the Chaos enchantment and the Fiery Soul Trap, but I also did a shield, an Ebony shield, with health and resist disease, I was saying. But I had the idea that, because I'm usually doing my restoration as one of my 3 attributes that I'm supposed to get to 100. So usually I'll just double hand my restoration and just do 2 at once. But I've got it so that it happens really quickly now, especially when you're doing with the two-handed. So I was thinking, since I have the health benefit on my shield, that I can just put the shield in one hand and block whoever's attacking me, and put the the restoration in the other hand and just do a one-handed restoration and a shield block, because that'll actually up my health. Because I was looking, and maybe I was seeing this incorrectly, but I was hoping that if I just had the shield in my inventory, that would also boost my health. But I think you actually have to have the shield equipped.
Yes,
in order.
Do.
Yeah. So that was another thing. I was like, because I only do restoration right after I've killed someone, and then I restore really quickly. I almost never do it in the middle of battle. But I figured with this, if I had the shield, I could do restoration in the middle of battle and save on my potions. Because usually if I'm getting low on health, I'll just bust into the screen really quick, my menu, and take a couple of restore potions.
Have you tried using restoration to fight with?
No, I haven't. How so? Explain that.
Well, you can use the turn undead spells when you're fighting Drogo. That will boost it up. You can also go to Dawnguard and, the crazy guy, Florentis. That guy cracks me up. He's one of my favourite characters. He's absolutely mad as a brush. He's a priest of Arcade. And he will give 2 spells, which is... the one that... I've forgotten his name. The guy who runs the Dawnguard, Isran.
Yeah.
You know that giant ball of light that surrounds him? It's like a ball of sunlight that surrounds him, and it hurts. It's like a cloak, like a fire cloak, but it's sunlight. Damages undead. That damages undead. And you also got like a spell, and it's called Vampire's Bane. And you throw it, and it actually causes sun damage to undead. So that will...
All undead, not just vampires. That's cool. What is the name of the... you said the Priest of Arcade?
Florentius.
Yeah, Florentius.
If you go back to Dawnguard and talk to Gunmar and What's-Her-Face, the Breton girl, they'll say, we need more help. And then you go back to Isran, and then he'll say, can you go? No, don't get this guy because I hate him. And you're like, well, hey, man, we're going to need him. And then you go off, and then you get him. You get to go through a whole dungeon to get him as well.
He was one of the Vigilants, wasn't he? The Florentius, he was a Vigilant.
Yeah, he was with Vigilant as a priest of Arcade. Yeah.
Right, that's why they have a history. Yeah.
Well, great. I will definitely look into that. That sounds awesome. Florentius. Well, it looks like we're at the end of our quest. Does anybody have any extra information or fun little stories or anything else that you wanted to get into? Little side quests that happened, maybe? Kathleen, did you have any cool stories on your side quests, perhaps?
No, just, now I am in the Bard's College, which I do on my playthroughs, but I never really paid much attention. But I wanted to get in there this time, just because I really didn't pay much attention to it. So when you go, you have to go find that Olaf's verse, and that was a lot of fun. That was in Dead Man's Respite. That was fun. There's actually a speech skill book in there.
Yeah, that's a
I
fairly
have
tough
that
dungeon.
written down.
That's the one where they surround you, isn't it? In the room.
Yeah, because it's a Draugr, and then you have to defeat King.
Tight.
That didn't come through. I muted my microphone. Did it come through?
No, I just
Oh,
saw
you
it.
saw me on
Here.
video. Okay. Thank goodness.
Sorry, I interrupted, Kathleen. Were you going on there?
Oh, no, that's fine. It's Draugr, and then you have to defeat the King Olaf One Eye. That was a pretty fun dungeon, actually.
It's like
that
it
is
sounded
fun.
like a euphemism for a penis.
Oh, jeez.
Just a little bit of King
So I'm
Olaf down
trying
there.
to collect all the Dragon Priest masks. I have 2 left.
Those are
So
fun.
that's pretty exciting.
So you've got the one at the end of the quest. Is that the last one you got before you get the 9th?
Wait a minute. You get a Dragon Priest mask from Olaf?
No.
Oh.
No.
in the Dragon
this is
Quest,
something
you have to play the
Yeah.
Dragon Quest to a certain extent in order to get the last one, I believe, right?
Right.
So is
It's like Mancrin or something. I have it written down.
Nakareen or something, yeah.
Yeah.
Not like Gunvar.
That's fun. I like
have to
collecting
get
the
one at
dragon masks.
Labyrinthian, yeah.
Colin,
Yeah,
you
I'm
seem
actually
to...
wearing one now.
Awesome. What do you have a favorite one, Kathleen?
Vokune, because it's light armor. It increases your, I want to say it's a speed increase, and you can breathe underwater. But
Very
because
nice.
I'm a light armor kind of gal, I really like it. Yeah.
Are they basically
I like
half
that
of
a
them
lot.
light
I
armor and
really
half of them
haven't
heavy
changed.
armor?
I think more of them are heavy, actually.
Okay.
But I really don't pay much to, like, I just grab them and throw them in my chest. But I really haven't changed armor too much since I got the Savior's Hide. And I wear that and the Dragon Priest mask and, like, boots of featherweight or, carry more weight, something like that, and an amulet and a ring.
Is the Saber's Hide
that's
actually
it.
decent armor? I always thought
I
that it
don't
looked
really
kind of
change.
janky.
No,
It does,
I
but it's
like
good
it on
armor.
a girl.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I
Cool.
do. And it's a nice light armor, so let's go and let some bears beat on me for a while so I can raise my light armor.
Don't talk to me about bears.
Yeah, really.
It happened
Oh.
again.
Sorry.
Dragon fight, kill the dragon, awesome fight. 2 minutes down the road,
Oh,
snow bear right to the face.
Oh, no.
Jeez.
Hey, Colin, I was about to launch into this extra stuff, and you seem to... What did I forget? You seem to want to interrupt me to say... that. I thought we were getting into something there. What did I forget to talk about?
Going back to Balgruuf to talk to the dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that still part of the same quest?
Yeah, that's actually still part of the Fallen. I keep forgetting that these are two intertwined quests. So after the negotiations, you are correct. What happens after the negotiations, Colin? What happened there?
Then you say to Balgruuf you'll meet him back at Whiterun. You go back to Whiterun, and you ask him if he's ready, and he says, yeah, we're all ready to rock and roll and get this dragon. We really hope you know what you're doing. You just shrug. Probably. I don't know. I'm just going along with it. You go upstairs to the balcony, and then they've cleared all the table away where they have their afternoon tea and crumpets. And you go outside. They have the trap ready whenever you're ready. Then you call Odoving, and the rebel Odoving, the free thinker that Esbern put you onto. He comes down, and he picks up a guard and throws him.
No, I always feel bad for that one guard wearing the red shirt.
I totally took an arrow to the knee.
I always talk to him just before it happens. Hey, man, how you doing? I don't think this is a good idea. You'll be fine. Zip up the body bag.
I do not envy the amount of pain you are about to feel.
We are about to die. Salute you.
Yeah, suddenly call Odoving and all spitting fire and breathing fire. And then he lands and you attack him if you back up enough. If you stay fighting at him right at the edge, it goes on forever because you don't get him in the trap. You have to back up towards the door to make him follow you. Then you get him locked in the trap. And he was like, oh.
That's probably a really good way to grind my two-handed. I didn't even think about that. I should leave him at the edge and just keep whacking him in the face with my ebony warhammer. If you said it keeps going on and on and on, that's probably a good way to grind that two-handed.
That's the way it's always happened for me before. If I stay right near the edge fighting him, because he got behind me once and trapped me at the edge of the balcony, so I couldn't get around it. And so I was like, and he kept on pushing me close to that. So I had to here, deal with that flame atronach.
Yeah, run away. Now, but I'm always looking for ways to grind that two-handed up because I drew randomly the two-handed, which is usually my play style anyhow, but I found that at the end of the Civil War quest, when you're up in Solitude, they just send waves and waves and waves of soldiers, and if you do not proceed further to the next checkpoint or whatever, that they'll send an endless amount of soldiers, so you can just stand there and keep whacking and whacking and whacking, and it's a good way to grind up your two-handed, or if you're any attack that you need to do, if you're grinding your magic or whatever. If you don't proceed forward, they will just keep sending waves and waves of soldiers to you. At least that's what I found in my playthrough there. So, anyone talk to Odoving yet and do the whole negotiation with him? What does Odoving say to us?
What does he say? I don't remember. I was just trying to think because he says, well done or something to that effect. You trapped me. But yeah, what does he say?
Kathleen, did you talk to Odoving?
I'm sure that I did. Doesn't he say, let me go? And you're like, no, you're going to help me first, and then maybe I'll let you go. Because he's stuck in a stall.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah. And then he tells you, I'm the only way that you're going to get there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ticket. If you want to get to fight Alduin, he is collecting souls. He says something about how Alduin is getting more powerful by eating the souls in Sovngarde or something like that.
Yeah.
So he informs you that there's only one way to get to Sovngarde, and that is by the wings of a dragon. So he will help you if you release him, I believe. Colin?
Yeah, he says you might have the voice of a dove, but if you don't have the wings of one, you'll never set foot on Solingen, whatever the place was. And he tries to trick you into letting him go first.
Yes, he does. That's
where you need to go. Thanks. Can you let me go now? I'll be off. And then you go, no.
Not so fast.
And then he goes, oh, another thing,
Yeah.
But there is an option there that you can say, which for some reason Gondvar chose to say, I'll let you go if you serve me.
Yes. How does Odoving reply to that?
He says, well, actually he kind of says, if you get rid of Alduin, well then, all right, then I will.
Awesome.
So there's sort of a branch there, but it comes together again. In other words, I've never tried that. So if you let him go for the first time, will he just fly away and then you're screwed, or?
No, he attacks you.
Oh, okay.
He attacks you, and then you beat him up, and then lock him in the trap again.
And then the same thing happens. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, and that will draw our current episode to a conclusion. That's where we will pick up our adventure for next time. And our next batch of assignments will be on Saturday, September 6th at 5 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. And we will continue after the Parthenax and fly with Odoving and go over to Sovngarde. And our assigned quests will be the World Eater's Eyrie, Sovngarde, and Dragon Slayer. That is 15 World Eaters Eyrie, 16 Sovngarde, and 17 Dragon Slayer. And that will draw us to the conclusion of the main Dragon Quest and be the end of Season 1 of the Roundtable. So I hope everyone's excited to finish up Season 1 here.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And we discussed we'll be moving on to Dragonborn, and then we'll probably figure out how we're going to do Season 3 after that. So Dragonborn won't be nearly as long as this Season 1.
Now, do you want to roll new characters for Dragonborn, or do you want to continue with the same characters?
Well, that's what we're going to discuss. We're going to see how you guys wanted to do that, because since no one was assigned a faction of Dragonborn, that means that no one has proceeded into the storyline very far. The only problem, I wanted to do Dawnguard also as one of our seasons, but I wasn't thinking far enough ahead, and I accidentally assigned factions
I got
of Dawnguard.
Yeah.
So that means certain people have played through it to a certain point already. So that was dumb. And I also assigned, the Imperials and Stormcloaks to people, but no one in our current group has played that. So we can, if you guys want to, just keep playing on with the same characters for at least Dragonborn, and if not, also the Civil War quest. And if at any point you guys want to and start over from scratch, we can also roll new characters. It just depends what everyone wants.
I think Dragonborn makes more sense to continue these characters because it sort of is a continue. But Civil War might be fun to start something new.
Okay, yeah, so we'll plan on doing that then. We'll just continue with our same characters that everyone's been hearing about recently for the Dragonborn quest, because it'll be considerably shorter than the actual Dragon storyline. So we'll continue on with these current players. But when we get to the Civil War part, we'll roll new characters, and that'll actually give us a good opportunity that if anyone who's listening would like to jump in, that would be a great opportunity for you guys to go ahead and hop in there.
Yeah, I'd also like to just throw in, I don't know if anybody, or if everybody read Ben's post earlier today on Facebook page. He posted a thread from the Bethesda forums, which is the Dead is Dead thread.
I saw the post, but I haven't looked into it. Yeah, I saw that you commented on it. What's happening?
Well, it's a really cool concept. It is Dead is Dead. In other words, you start a character, and if you die, that's it. You go back to the beginning.
Shit.
So it opens up all kinds of interesting, possibilities. I was reading through the thread, and there's people who claim anyway to have taken their Dead is Dead character up into the level 40s.
Wow.
They seem to not last much longer, mostly between 6 and 12 or so. But it sounded like a lot of fun to try. So that's something for the Roundtable to consider as well, is to try a Dead is Dead play.
Yeah, we could try that. We'll see if that works into maybe the Civil War quest or something if we re-roll our characters.
That might be tough for Civil War. I think, Dead is Dead, you need to do a lot of development of, building potions and health buffs and all kinds of things so that you can actually then, and certainly you'd have to have followers, strong followers.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think you might have to rethink the travel situation with Civil War, because there's a lot of go here, talk to him, go there, talk to him.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You're just walking from one side of the map to the other side for no reason, just to go and say 3 words and then
say, hey, we need to go over here and do this. Oh, wait, now I have to walk to the other side of the map.
Yeah, fast travel is kind of almost essential for that,
yeah. Well, as we've said a couple times, I'm not looking to ruin anybody's good time here. So if you have to ignore your travel style, I'm all for that. I just wanted to try to have yet another category to differentiate the characters to get a different viewpoint from everyone. So
no, I totally agree with it, and I stick to my walk. It's just that with
the Civil War would be annoying.
It would be horrendously annoying. And if anybody, as long as people don't mind, I'd rather stick with Gonvar for Civil War.
Yeah, that is totally fine. We can make that an option, but I guess if you want to keep playing with your current character, that would also be fine, or if you want to roll a new character. It's just at the beginning of a new season, it's a good opportunity for us to get fresh voices in, because we have had a couple emails of people wanting to join in. So I don't want to discourage people saying, oh, they've been playing this for so long, I would be intimidated to hop in. We're wanting to encourage as many people to do little play-alongs or actually appear on the podcast with us.
Absolutely.
So,
that would be great.
Yeah, that's good. So we'll make that an option. All right, anybody have anything else they'd like to get into before I launch into the outro material?
No, I think we're...
Nope, thanks for having me on this evening.
Oh, it's great to have you, Kathleen.
Yeah, glad you came.
Yeah, glad you could make it. And so just as we sign off here, we'll start with Kathleen, then we'll go to Victor, and we'll go to Colin. Please just state your name and your character's name, and if you have a Twitter or a website or a blog to plug, go ahead and do that. Kathleen?
Okay, this is Kathleen from Pennsylvania, and my character is a wood elf named Shiva Bornier, and right now she's at level 57-ish, 56, 57. Somewhere right around there. And that's it.
Victor?
Victor from Massachusetts. My character is a Dunmer named Slythe Aaron. Tonight brought to you by Mead from the great state of Maine. So that's it for me.
Very nice. Colin?
Hi, my name's Colin. I'm calling from England. My character's name is Gunvar Oakenmaster. The true High King.
Very nice. And I am Andrew. I'm calling in from Indiana. My Red Guard female character's name is Mania Ababna. And I would like everyone to please check out the Twitter for a Skyrim Addict. Michael runs that and does posts about Skyrim Addict every once in a while. So subscribe to that. Also, you can join the Facebook group for a Skyrim Addict podcast. We are a very active group, and we're all supportive. There's very little trolling and jerkish behavior going on. So if you are tired of all the horrible posts for gaming websites, please join us on Facebook group. We're a very helpful group. Please, if you have the time, give the podcast a 5-star review on iTunes. And this counts for all 3 of our podcasts that are in the Skyrim Addict family. There's the Skyrim Addict Academy, hosted by Ben. Hello, shout out to Ben Monroe, like Colin had brought up earlier in the show. And the normal A Skyrim Addict podcast. And that also includes us, the Skyrim Addict Podcast Roundtable. Head on over to iTunes, give us a 5-star review. That sounds nice. If you have any play-along information, we're looking at you, Juan, please give us some feedback to the Skyrim Roundtable at gmail.com, and we'll work that into the show. If you have any interest in the Fantasy Football Skirmish for Skyrim League, we are currently filled at 14 spots, so we'll need to add people. If you still have interest in joining, we can do that, but we need to add people by 2s. There always has to be an even number of teams. So, I believe Brad Seeger was interested in joining. So if there's one other person out there who'd like to jump into the Fantasy Football Skyrim League, please get a hold of us, and we'll also let you and Brad in. I'd like to give a special thanks out to Dan Bull, who wrote the theme music, the Skyrim rap that you hear at the top of the show. He gave us explicit permission to be able to use his copyrighted material. So thank you again, Mr. Bull, for the ability to use your music as our theme song.
Thank you very much. It's awesome.
Yes, I love it. I'm not sure if... Oh, no, wait. I'm actually super positive. We do have some audio feedback that we're going to put on to the end of the show. This will be Colin resuming his narrative story of Gunvar Oakenmaster, and I'm really looking forward to hearing that. So everyone stick around for the audio feedback following the show. And... happy Skyrimming.
To me, I don't just spit flames lyrically, but literally, and the Elder Scrolls are scripts in which I've written your obituary. I am the Dragonborn, wearing a hat with badass horns. I'm Dovahkiin, no globally, you'll know the D.O.
Hi guys, it's Colin again. I'm back with more of my never-ending notes. You might hear the sound of turning pages in the background. That's because I went back to writing in my journal because writing on the phone was taking forever. So I can barely read it, so you might hear me miss a few words here and there, but you'll get the general gist. So here we go. I'm just going to backtrack just ever so slightly and then start again. So The elf he was talking to disappears downstairs, and I search around for any intel hidden in the numerous chests they got. And bingo. Dossiers. I flick through them, but pause. Ulfric's Stormcloak. My hands shake as I crack the seal and skim through the pages. Acid? My whole world turns to shit. My hands shake and my legs give out, so much so that I need to steady myself on the furniture. Master of the mind, my silver-haired Nordic ass. I can't even read the pages. I just see words. Words like dormant, acid, Helgen incident. At times like this, I wish I could influence myself as much as others. I could do with a good calm spell right about now. I tried to close my eyes, but I just get flashbacks to Helgen. Seeing Ellenwen as we rode in, realizing she was there to ensure Ulfric's release, not to seal his doom, contrary to what most people believe. After a few moments, I managed to regain my composure and start to make sense of what I'm reading. I take in the details. Captured, tortured, even deceived and made to believe he betrayed his kin, which is actually still true. Even though the city had already been sacked, he still relented. The more I read, the clearer things become, and I start to get a true picture of Ulfric Stormcloak. And it's even worse than I thought. Arrogant, devious, an unquenchable thirst for power, and he'll grab by any means. I know the story. I've heard it all my life. It turns out that the man I swore fealty to, my brother swore fealty to, was more of a bastard than I ever was. I lied to myself and tried to say that I wasn't taken in by all the stories and the claims of Stormcloak all over Skyrim. But even if I was, that's not the cause of my murderous rage building inside me now. My brother was an honourable man, and it shouldn't have been his fate to die defending some asshole that wasn't half the man he was. That's why I left Skyrim in the first place. He knew what I was. Everyone did. But still he fought any man who made mention of me being a sneak thief, or worse, a magic user. I lean back in my chair, contemplating exactly how I'm going to take Ulfric out without handing Skyrim over to Tullius. When I realise where I am, and there's about 20 Thalmor who are going to want my head in about 15 seconds after they find out the less than well-concealed bodies outside. I lock it all away into the corner of my mind. I manage to gain control. I recast Muffle on myself and prepare the invisibility spell. I get one last flash of Aethys stamping on Ulfric's head and put it away until I can get taken care of business. I head downstairs to the sounds of vicious blows and whimpering yelps. I know what's happening, but I still hold back and listen in. I need to learn all I can. After I'm sure the guy knows nothing else, I sneak in behind the interrogator and cut him so quick he doesn't even move in his seat. I drop the guard with even less trouble. I free the guy and have a look around. I find out about this Esbern and his possible whereabouts when I hear guards entering from above. I start talking to the room as they can't pin me down. I disappear again and sneak behind them before they even finish their threats against the elf. As if I cared. I drop the first one then, and that's when Malborn shows he's no coward and starts punching the other one in the head. I'd like to see how this one plays out, but the whole embassy will be after us soon, and I need to get back to Delphine to catch her up on with the good news and the bad. We get outside and the prisoner takes off, and after I let Malborn in on the futility of trying to punch a troll to death, I send him on his way too. I get back to the skeever and pick up the boys. I wait till we're well out of the city before I give Aethys the lowdown on everything. He just shrugs and says, "What now?" Good question. I decide that the dragons are too big to ignore. Besides, I can think more clearly about that than Ulfric. We make for Riverwood and don't even bother with the roads. We just head south. We get to the Sleeping Giant, and I give it to Delphine. But she can't believe it. But as soon as I mention Esbern, all else falls by the wayside. She gives me the skinny on the guy and sends me off to Riften to grab the old coot before the Thalmor get to him. I grab my gear she kept for me, and I stop by a right one to make sure I'm fully prepared for all that's ahead. I can't slow down. I gotta keep fighting. When I stop, all I hear is my brother's voice, and others like him who died for a Hollow King. Where's a dragon when you need one? We get to Riften. I've heard the stories about the place, but I still don't see the shakedown at the front gate coming. I think about telling Athos to rearrange the guy's face, but decide to play the game instead and make too much trouble to be worth it. He lets me through. I'm only inside 5 minutes when I get the skinny on almost everyone in the city save the skeevers. I find Brynjolf, the guy in Delphine said would be a good contact, and he's running some sort of scam. Plays it as if I'm some kid fresh out of the orphanage, but that's just for show. He's desperate. So much so that he gives up that he was the one behind the front gate scam, and compliments me on my skill at playing the game. To my surprise, I actually fall for the flattery and agree to help him out. Besides, it won't hurt to be in good with any kind of guild, let alone one of as old as the thieves. I get the job done, easy enough, and he gives up the location of the old man and gives me the invitation to join the guild. He tries to sound as if he wasn't begging, but we're both old enough to know desperation when we hear it. He takes off, and all that's left is enjoy the show. The elf is carted off to jail, and I turn around, but Aces ain't too happy. I'd forgotten he was even an elf there for a second. We head down to the Ratway and have a nice easy time of it. We get to the flagon and it's a dump. I'll tell Brynjolf as much. He gives me a couple of jobs better suited to your random thug as a way of pointing out who's boss. I'll get to him. Eventually. We get downstairs and it's back to business. The Thalmor beat us here. I think Athos took it personally as he runs off and proceeds to kill them all almost single-handedly. Miko manages to get his pound of flesh from one of the guards and have to dig a chunk of elven armor out of his teeth. We get to a room and it's filled with nutters. One of them tries to make a meal of us, so we drop them all. Better off, if you ask me. I knock on the only locked door, and there's no way I'm picking this thing. The face panel opens, and by Talis, old guy was right. He could actually be Akatosh's grandfather. Let's just hope his mind isn't as far gone as his face. After a lot of reassurances and code phrases, I get inside, and he lives up to his reputation. His mind is as sharp as mine, and he's not too shy about sharing exactly what's going on. He drops the news like a mammoth off a cliff. Alduin the World Eater. My throat goes dry, and I clench my fists, as well as other body parts. It's lucky the old man is about 1,000 years old. They probably would have popped anyone else who had unceremoniously dropped the news that the world was about to end. Not unless I go off and fight the firstborn of Akatosh. I clue him in on exactly who and what I am. Surprisingly, he changes from being the angel of death to my own personal adoring fan. The old coot grabs his gear and we're ready to move when the Thalmor show up again. Me and the boys are ready to hack and slash when Esbern schools a lot of us on what's what. He summons a storm at Trinarchy the other night cast Candlelight. He runs at them, blasting them with fireballs so fierce they would give Athos a suntan. All the while he's screaming for help. There's bits of high elf decorating the walls and ceiling. I make a mental note never to get in his bedside. We move out. We get head to Riverwood to meet with Delphine, but not before dispatching Temeral's worst assassin. I think the tales of Khajiit's prowess at sneaking has been greatly exaggerated. We get about halfway to Haymor's Shame when we get set upon by a bear. Not too difficult to deal with, but in all the confusion Esbern hits Miko with a fireball, and Ace nails him in the ass with an arrow. As soon as he finishes the bear off, Miko turns on the other two and sends them running for cover. I'm laughing so hard that I can't even focus enough to hit him with the pacify spell. For a moment or two, I realise that this is the first time I've smiled since the embassy. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let some elves, a jumped-up wannabe king, or the big bastard himself, Alduin the World Eater, stop me from laughing my old ass off at the sight of a Blades Lore Master
and the finest warrior elf companion running scared from the slobbering scuffbag that is Miko Oakenmaster. Bring it on, the lot of you. I'll die laughing, happy in the knowledge that you won't be far behind, with dog bites in your ass and war axe-shaped hole in your face. Thanks, guys. We get to the inn and bear witness to the most emotionally repressed reunion I've ever seen. Then it's back to business. Esbern starts to talk and shows exactly why every Thalmor in the province was hunting him down and not me. I look to Delphine and she gives me a look and shrugs as he rambles away. I spot the dog down on the corner, taking a snooze, and then I glance to Aethys. Usually he just stares at me, waiting for me to point at something to attack. This time, he listens intently to Esbern, taking in all that's happened, what's to come, preparing himself for it. I peruse the room and am taken aback by my own feelings. I haven't had this sense of camaraderie since, well, maybe the old man at Jorvaskr. But before that, it was my brother. Punching out a guard twice his size for trying to arrest me for the one thing I actually didn't do. I'll snap out of it. Good thing, too. As with Delphine, with no hint of sarcasm, was asking me what we should do next. I tell her that me and the boys would just end up attracting too much attention, and that we should separate. She agrees and heads off with Esbern in tow, and gives her goodbyes to the puppy dog she had working upstairs. Oh, now, you poor bastard. We should have told her years ago. I wait till they leave, and then I turn to Aethys and ask, where the hell am I supposed to be meeting them anyway? The Reach. Fantastic. I get to Breeze home and go to drop off all the crap I've accumulated and restock on supplies, but I'm running low on potions. Decide to sell off as much as I can and get some decent potions from Arcadia. But as I'm heading up to see Yorland, I spot that kid who keeps asking for money every time I pass by. At first I think she's just trying her luck, but no. The look in her eyes, the timbre of her voice, it's the weak spot I never knew I had, or pretended not to have. I look to Aethys, and he just gives me the what look. Sure, when it's an abandoned dog left in the walls, he's all stoic and nodding heroically. But an orphan girl, starving to death, and he has all the compassion of one of those Daedric princes he's so fond of. I tell her to grab her stuff while I talk to the steward about taking out the alchemy table. I ask how a girl has survived this long without any help, and I can't believe it. Mr. Stinky Redguard has a soft spot after all. Mind you, still less surprising than me having one. I get Lucia all squared away, and I tell Lydia that if anything happens to her while they're on my way, it's her ass. I go to leave and Lucia lays it on with a real thick, calls me Papa. I'm actually smiling as I leave the house when I see Freya Greymane heading up to her stall. I remember the promise I had made. Her son is probably dead, but she deserves peace of mind. Plus it involves breaking into the Battleborn's house, and that just sounds like fun. I'll tell Aethys to take a break and get serious. This is my home after all. Filthy elven bastards. Can't believe I left this so long. It looks like Esbern and Delphine are going to have to wait. There's no way I'm leaving Thorold in the hands of the Thalmor. And if anyone will understand this, it's those two. I tell Ovalstein to grab his men and meet me there. I owe somebody a little something, and it can't wait any longer. 100 gold. A place to sleep? 3 meals a day from the Bannered Mare. No. Just that stupid Argonian ale. Alright, Brennan, you crazy drunken bastard. If that's all you want, then it's yours. And any time you wish to come visit Lucia, it's fine by me. Just don't get your stink all over my favourite chair. We'll go to Jorvaskr to pick up Aethys. I'm halfway to the door when I realise that I've walked past Vilkis and Farkas, proven warriors, and I've asked Aethys, the dark elf, to join me instead, and not to test him.
Not to accidentally drop him off a cliff, but because there's no one I trust more, and no one I'd rather have with me when my back's against the wall. I can't stop this grin from spreading across my face. I think he knows. We get to the barracks after a pretty uneventful trip, and I spy Ovalstein's group. They're all Nords, and ain't too happy when they spot Athos. I don't even bother to defend him. I let his war axe do the talking. But the dog they're fine with. I take a look at what we're up against, and I realise that I could calm every guard in the place and release Thorold without even laying a finger on any of them. But where's the fun in that? This style of fighting is raw and intoxicating. We run from room to room, dropping everything like the petty bandits and not experienced Salmor warriors. We get to where Thorold is being interrogated, and the maid nails us all with some serious shock spells. So much so I have to drop him with a shout, which takes Athos and one of Ovalstein's guys with it. They ain't too happy when they get up, but it worked. The mage is dead, and they're no worse for wear. We free Thorold and head outside, freeing others as we go. When we get outside, Thorold gives me his thanks. Says he's going to join that hideout with the Stormcloaks. I think of letting him in on a few throughs about Ulfric and the Stormcloaks, but refrain from doing so. Not until I know what I'm going to do about this. But it's good to know I'll have a few friends close by just before I make my move. To take off, and I think about heading to the Reach to meet Esbern and Delphine. But I can't let all that money just rot. I clear out the barracks of everything of value and I sell it all in solitude, then make my way towards the Reach. I decide to head to Rorikstead and then go west so as to approach Carthby from a direction we know. As we run into town, I immediately regret my decision as the sky darkens and all three of us spot the big bastard. He's raising another one of his kin. Well, there's no rest for the wicked, and I definitely fall into that category. Its name is Voltabir or Vulcanchar, something ridiculously hard to pronounce, but that's all redundant now as he's just bones again. We head west and know when we've hit the Reach. It smells like juniper berries and bear shit. We come down the cliffside and just pass a mine when a dragon comes out of nowhere. It's the day for it, I suppose. We take care of him just as easily as the last. The fun begins when we cross the river to meet up with Esbern and Delphine, and realise there's about 1,000 forsworn warriors between us and where we need to be. Where's the Gate of Oblivion when you need one? It's a tough fight, even with all the firepower and finesse that Esbern and Delphine bring. I nearly lose Miko to the matriarch, the Hagraven. Luckily Delphine got to her first. When it's all done, I start yelling, and he whimpers more than when he was on fire. We head inside and the Briarheart is waiting for us. He's tough, but he's no Blade's lawmaster. With a Storm Atronach at his back, Esbern has him on his knees before I even reach him, so I finish him with the fire breath shout. We get to the temple, and Esbern plays dumb. Waits until I solve the puzzles. When we get inside, Esbern goes all boring librarian on us. The place is awe-inspiring. We see the wall, and the Lawmaster lives up to his reputation and translates the whole thing in minutes. It comes down to a shout, and it just so happens that I know a guy who knows a thing or two about shouts. Delphine agrees, while passing on her opinion of the Greybeards as well. Not a fan, from the sounds of it, I'm guessing. It's then that Esbern recites the prophecy. My destiny. I stare at Alduin's wall and take it in. I try to write it here, but it just turns into words. I ask the boys to leave me be for a time, as I explore the halls. They seem to speak to me. I find the armory, and in it, a full set of blades armor and a sword. It feels like mine. It hums with an enchantment. Shock. But something else too. I take it and the armor and change into them immediately. And it feels right. I favour the sword and heavy armor.
even when I would have been better served with light armor and a dagger. Now I know why. This was made for dragon slaying, and it's finally going to fulfill its destiny, as I will mine, by burying it deep into Alduin's scaly hide. And from there, the question of who will be the next High King of Skyrim just got a whole lot easier. Not even Ulfric can argue with the divine right to rule that comes with the dragon blood, and the slayer of Alduin the World Eater to boot. But I really hope he tries. I venture back into the Great Hall, and no one makes mention of my new armor. But Vathus won't stop staring at the helmet, so I lose it. Messed up my hair anyway. I leave Delphine to her exploring, and bid farewell to Esbern, when he tells me there's a special blessing that he can give me that will aid me when fighting dragons. I tell him to lay it on me, and after I hear it, I'm pretty sure he just made it up on the spot. But at this point, I'll take all I can get. I'm pretty sure we're getting close to it now. We move out and head for home. It's on the way to High Hrothgar. Besides, I want to check in on Lucia as soon as possible. I walk through the door and she hits me with the papa stuff again. She's good. She makes for the dog, and to my surprise, Miko, the bane of Drogon death lords and bandit chiefs everywhere, turns out to be a bigger softy than I am. He just drops to the floor when he hears who's a good doggy and the customary belly scratch. The only one that holds out is Aethys, but I'm pretty sure he'll be wrapped around her little finger soon enough. She wants Miko as our pet. I tell her that's fine, just as long as I don't need him. But it does get me thinking. That scare with the hag raven brought back thoughts of Bran, and I don't feel like putting Lucia through that. We take to the road, and my mind wanders as we make the run into Ivarstead. All the things that have happened since Helgen run through my mind, and the only part that scares me is that I'm still holding back. In the short time I've been home, I've gained the trust and respect of the companions, taken control of the College of Winterhold, and have been recognized as the Dragonborn with the Greybeards. And I head there now to ask them to aid me in a bid to spit in the face of prophecy, put an end to Alduin himself. I have no intention of stopping there either. But first things first. Stop the end of the world. Angir is all smiles and welcomes till I bring out the shout, and his tone shifts to one I'm not too keen on. He spots the armor and puts two and two together and gets a little loud. For what he's done for me up until now, I just give him a reassuring pat on the back and put his mind at ease as to who serves who. We get down to it, and he's not the guy we need to be talking to anyway. I get that sinking feeling. If this is the same Parthenax that I read about on those tablets on the way up here, I don't think I'm going to like what I find up there. But he could just be taking on the mantle out of respect, but I doubt it, knowing my luck. We get outside, and I'm informed that I'll need a shout to be able to reach the top, and that suits me just fine. The price is right. We start to move, but have an easier time of it than when we thought when Angir was talking about it. There's a few ice rays and a frost troll or two, but the hardest thing is not to trip over the wild goats that seem to be everywhere. We get to the top and it's weapons drawn and battle stances at the ready. My suspicions are proven true. I think I even hear Miko give an exasperated sigh. He plays his part very well. He even reminds me of Esbern, although I'm pretty sure Esbern's older. He makes nice and teaches me the second word for fire breath shout, then asks me to use it on him. I'm reminded of the first time I met Angir and I used Foos on him, and it's just as weird now as it is then. But I oblige. He starts the history lesson, but I don't drop my guard. He goes on so long that my arms start to get tired, and the dog goes for a snooze. But finally, he gets to the point. I should have figured as much. He can't help. Go get it yourself. The Elder Scroll is new, though. I think I'm off vampire hunting when I realise the timelines don't match. I'm stumped for a moment, then I nearly ruin my stoic exterior when Urag springs to mind. The dragon tells me to trust my instincts, and I do. I take my leave without turning my back on it. Dragonrand. I like the sound of that. We go through High Hrothgar, but I don't stop to chat. Still less than pleased that they tried to hide the truth about Paarthurnax from me, and I'm still trying to find out why. Maybe if they'd been forthcoming earlier, we could have gotten ahead of this and taken Alduin before a dragon topped every single mountain top all across Skyrim. I'll see what Esbern can give me. We don't meet much on the way up to the college, save the bodies left behind from our last trip. Everything seems to be business as usual. It appears Tolthir runs a tight ship, and Oreg hasn't changed. There's still a lot of attitude for Nirn's skinniest orc. I ask if he can help us out, and things start to sound familiar. Go here, maybe. Punch this, probably. Don't die, at least permanently. All standard fare, I guess. But at least when Mirabelle was alive, I got to smell that jasbay and lavender perfume she always wore. We make for the ice fields, and I find Urag's friend, who he hasn't even bothered to look for, even though they were close. Me and the dog get there okay, but I'm pretty sure Athos is about 5 minutes away from freezing to death. We find the cave and we get inside, and I can't believe it. As mad as a brush and twice as annoying. I roll my eyes so much that it almost causes an avalanche. But I'm not that lucky. I tell him I'm about 10 seconds away from eating him if he doesn't come up with anything useful soon. He scoffs at that, but makes with the info pretty quickly. Bull, check. Square, check. Ruins, okay. Giant cavern of death. Got it. I turn and Athos actually looks concerned for once. But I quickly realised that's because he doesn't want to go outside into the cold again. What are you, an elf or an Argonian? We get to Alftown without too many problems. I did have to use the clear skies shout once or twice, but that was so Athos could start to feel his ears again. He didn't find that one very funny, but Miko did. We get inside and find out we're following a group of treasure hunters. I was hoping they cleared the way of traps and other dangers, but no, they've just aggravated just about everything in the ruins, and they all want a piece of my old ass. After freeing Thorold from the Thalmor, I've almost completely given up on sneaking. We've barreled through the ruins like a pack of marauding orcs, taking out dwarven things and dwarven whatsits with ease. Even a crazed Khajiit with what must have been a Daedric woodcutter's axe from the damage that thing was doing went down relatively quickly. The lower we got, however, the more careful I became. The Thalmor here are better organised and better equipped than others I've encountered. That, coupled with their superior numbers, starts to concern me, especially with the way Miko runs in first. Those first few hits can be the most critical. We get to what looks like the end, and we need to take out one of those metal giants. But we're not the first ones here. To my surprise, the treasure hunters made it all the way down here too. Quite a feat, if you're not me. I get nice and sneaky and listen in. It turns out greed and paranoia went out again as they go for each other. Which makes me wonder why Athos doesn't pop with a, hey, I want a bigger share more often. Must be a companion thing. I let the two of them have it out, and the woman turns out to be the victor. I go to finish her off, but for some reason I don't. I hit her with Pacify and carry on. After finally finding where I'm supposed to use that ball the annoying whack job gave me, it looks like we're heading further down, but I'm not too worried. I doubt there's anything left that we couldn't handle. Talus hates me. That's what it is. We get into Blackreach and it's not what I expected. Darkness is one thing, but this is something else. We make for the first set of steps, and we're set upon by one of those sphere machines. It's not too difficult, but before we even make a dent, I'm hit by an arrow in the back. I'd be dead right now if it wasn't for potions. I rush the archer and leave the machine for Miko and Athos. Looks as though we're taking control finally. That's when good old Tiber twists the knife. Falmer, all decked out in armour so thick that Athos' ebony war axe just bounces off it, joins the fun. Within seconds, Miko's out for the count, and Athos is running purely on potions. I get the archer down and go to help the others. I make as if to shout, but think better of it, and hit him with the strongest fear spell I can muster. Luckily it takes, and I make for the others. We head straight for the exit. We regroup, and I decide to stick with my strengths. I muffle up and tell the others to wait behind, and I start creeping through to the other side. I leave the heavy armour on though. It might make one hell of a racket, but if I get hit even once by one of these things, without it I'm done. And so is all of Skyrim. I can barely see my own hands in this blackness, and I don't actually want to see what I'm walking through. I come across a couple of dwarven machines, the big ones. I activate them and as a distraction and head off in the opposite direction. I finally get to the tower and luckily it's secure. Not sure why though. There was no lock on the door. I find a diary of some guy called Droct, and it gives me some hints as to how to get the machine working. Not that different from Result, but different enough. I start off pretty meticulous, but halfway through I just start mashing buttons, and it finally gives up the scroll. I take the square too. I don't know what the whack job is getting out of that box, but if it's worth anything, I can always stick him and take it. I find a quick way out and back. Excuse me. I find a quick way out back, and for a moment, just a moment, I think about leaving. But then again, who'd be there to back up my stories of giant snake creatures and the Falmer armies made of iron? We get topside and I head home, only to drop off the loot and we pick up from Alfrand. But I also want to make some changes as well. I have no doubt that I would have survived Black Reach had I prepared better. We might even have cleared the place of dangers to allow us just to roam freely and empty of everything of value, not without suffering losses. And that's too high a price to pay again. I walk through the door and get set upon by Nern's biggest pair of pleading eyes. I'm not sure what's happening, but first I smell it, then I hear it. There's a fox in my house. I go to look, but I can't escape the eyes. Then I get hit with the sweetest papa you've ever heard, and I'm beaten. The only thing left to do is relent. And I wait for the opportunity to punch the house call in the face who was left in charge to prevent this type of thing. I give Athos the day off and spend time in the house with the kid. We have a long talk and I ask her if she can take care of Miko for me. I make sure she knows what Miko is. A warrior. A hero. And a true friend. And I want to have him around for a very, very long time. She asks if she can use Miko to scare off Braith. I tell her sure, but just make sure Miko doesn't eat Braith. It's bad for his tummy. The next day is the day. We collect Athos and run to High Hrothgar. Once inside, I stop and turn to Athos. He doesn't see it coming. I tell him to wait there and not to follow. That I need to do this alone. He doesn't understand why, and I can't explain it. If I tell him why I can't have him there, it'll break us. And I'll need him at my side. Just not now. He does what I say as always, and I continue to the peak alone. I get to the time wound and the dragon is waiting for me. He knows I have the scroll and tells me not to delay, as Aldwin would know when something is happening. I take my stance and read the scroll. The images it shows me are tense, as I not only see, but feel as well. I see my forebears, and I sense their courage, and their defiance. Their defiance of prophecy as they face off against the World Eater. They more than prove their worth against him until the bravest of them falls. It's upon her death that the others turn to the scroll and use it to banish Alduin from then to now. I've learned what I needed, and I feel its power. The hatred they had for all dragons adds to my own, and it makes me stronger. As my eyes adjust from the reading, he's waiting for me, and I'm ready for him. He spews some crap intended to scare me, but I've seen the fear in his eyes at the hands of Gormleth, and I want to be the cause of that fear. I use Dragon Rend, and I feel it tear at him. The speeches continue, but I have no time to listen. I have no Aethys, and no Miko. The World Eater has landed not 5 feet from where I stand, and nothing but my imminent death is on his mind. Any Nord worth his sword would give everything he had to die in such a way. But I'm not just any Nord, and all Alduin has done is provide me the opportunity to prove it. Dragon Rend doesn't last long, but with Talus on my side, my throat recovers faster than he can shake it off. But he wouldn't be the most feared dragon ever to take to the skies if he couldn't give as good as he got. Not only do I have to be wary of his fire and frost breath, but his shout to the heavens calls down the wrath of the gods themselves. I back off and let Paarthurnax do some of the heavy lifting, and I opt for the clear skies. Alduin is back up, but I no longer have to worry about being hit with giant rocks of death. I bring him down again, and this time he's not getting back up. I use a scroll to bring up a Storm Archonok to keep him busy, and I lay into him with Dragon's Bane and the Razor. He makes short work of the Storm Archonok, but by then I don't need Dragon Rend to keep him on the ground. I pop up the Snowman and down all the potions I can before I go all out. I don't know if the Razor can work on Alduin, but Dragonborn tears through him like paper. Clear skies keeps him off balance, and I manage to finish him with a flurry. And nothing. He's done. He has no fight left, but there he stands, not dying. I regain my strength and I hit him with fire breath. Still nothing. He's protected. Akatosh, a spell, a ring of ruined Gomvar's day. Something is preventing me from finishing this right here and now. He spells it out for me and goads me into following him, and I will. I never thought I'd be disappointed to see the World Eater running scared, but today is that day. I don't pause. The other one is quick to hand out the accolades, but I can't slow down now. I smelled his blood and fear, and all I want is to be chewing on his heart right about now. The dragon's words bring me down finally, from the heights of euphoria and abject rage at what just happened here. We need another dragon. As if I don't have enough problems. But after what I just accomplished here, it should be fun by comparison. We get home and I say hi to Lucia and the rest of the family. That sounded strange, but it didn't sound wrong. Then it's off to Dragon's Reach to play nice with Balgruuf. This should be easy enough. I knew I hated him. If I ever learn a shout that makes people's head explode, this is my first port of call. Well, maybe second. Windhelm and Ulfric. Come back, Alduin, all is forgiven. It was easy enough to get a okay from Arngeir to hold the treaty. But even the walk to Windhelm was difficult since I sent Alduin off to lick his wounds. Every dragon in Skyrim, it seems, is trying to make a name for himself by taking me down. But they all pale in comparison to the bear I'm about to face. I step through the gates of Windhelm, and the bleakness of the city matches my mood. But I am in no mind for sightseeing. I head straight for the palace, and pray to Talus that I don't lose my mind and execute the bastard right there and then. But part of me prays that I do. The palace is large and the voices echo throughout. The talk of Whiterun and the difficulty of taking her. A wry smile cracks my exterior. If they only knew how much the way has been cleared by yours truly, they'd be marching there already. I reintroduce myself and get a mouthful of abuse. My blood boils and I feel Athos reach for his axe. My hatred doesn't win out. I somehow contain it long enough to convince him to see the greybeards. I manage to make it outside before I completely lose control, and I scream inside my own mind. I rack my brain and try to find a solution to ending Ulfric, but not ending the Stormcloak Rebellion, where everything goes quiet, and like a messenger from the gods, a random god passing by just happens to mention a small boy in town is trying to contact the Dark Brotherhood. If he wasn't wearing that stupid helmet, I would have kissed him right there and then. After searching around for about an hour, I finally find the Arantino house. And sure enough, when we get inside, I hear the prayer, and I know what to do. Putting down the assassins they send after me is just business. But sealing their kill? Well, that's just mean. It can't be ignored. I take the kid's contract. Orphans, huh? Well, still make a nice story for Lucia when I get home. When we get outside, Athos remarks that if this is a path I wish to pursue in resolving the Ulfric situation, then there is someone else I should meet with, and he asks me to follow him. We get to a stinky little hole called the New Genesis Corner Club. Upon entering, I immediately spot who we're here to meet. I know enough to know a capable warrior when I see one, but this one stands apart. He's a Dunmer, of course, but he's flanked by an Imperial mage and a Nord warrior who smells worse than Brennan, if that's possible. I take a seat, but let Athos do the talking. We're looking for Slythe Aaron of the Morag tongue. We heard you might know something. He's not liking where this is going. I don't take my eyes off him. If he reaches for that claymore thing, well, things will be interesting. He's retired, is all we get. I can't signal Athos to back off without taking my eyes off Aaron. Athos gives him the target's name. There is a pause, but Aaron repeats himself. An honour he doesn't bestow on just anyone, I'm guessing. We take the compliment and the hint and back away from the table. I give the cursory nod, happy that the knowledge shared will be forgotten, and head for the door. But just before I exit, he says one word. Solstein. The road to Solitude is just as annoying as the one to Windhelm was. The dragons are everywhere now, but without Alduin they're not organised. Just attacking one by one, they'll die out eventually, as long as another one doesn't try to take over. This will go better than expected. Tullius is easy to convince. He almost screams politician. And then we're off to High Hrothgar immediately. The summit goes easier than that. Everyone seems to be more concerned about how they're perceived than actually showing strength, bar Rika. But in the end, they all pretty much do what I tell them to. I use the situation to my advantage and give Markarth to Ulfric. And by Ulfric, I mean me. It's all settled, and I have to give Winterhold to the Imperials to stop the whole thing breaking apart again. But with Tolfdir in place, I alone control the real power in Winterhold. And as we finish, I give Aldenwyn a little wink and tell her I'll see her soon. Only to have Delphine, of all people, spoil my fun. She tells me she knows about Parthenax and that he needs to be taken care of. Talk about stating the obvious. With Alduin out of the picture, he's next in line. Dragons alone are tough, but a unified dragon force will turn this into a war. One of those is enough at the moment. But I tell her to hold off, that we need to drop Alduin first, and besides, he could still be of use. And damn, woman, I thought I was cold. You're standing in the man's house, for God's sake. You could show a little respect. Esbern comes up with the name of the dragon that would be best to summon. Apparently he's a free thinker and a bit of a rebel. I just don't see why I can't beat one into telling me what I want to know. I'd rather have Atis beat it out of them. Once we're back in Whiterun, I say hello to and goodbye to the kid, just in case. I let Lydia know what's what and what to do if I don't come back. I give the scruff bag a good scratch behind the ear and tell him to look after everybody, mate. I make my way up to Dragon's Reach. Bolgruff's all set. The guards ain't too sure what to do, but they just do what they're told. I get to the edge of the balcony and I called Odoving. It doesn't take long. Esbern was right. This one is reckless. He dives at the balcony and takes out a guard, but at a huge cost. Not only do I get him with Dragon Rend, but he's also nailed by every arrow Aethys, Urlith, and the guards loose in his direction. Once down, he only has eyes for me, and I back up, luring him farther into the trap until it's sprung. He quickly changes from spewing fire to spilling his guts about Alduin. Although I'd like to take credit, I think his loose tongue has more to do with Alduin's rule than my persuasion skills. I'm good, but I'm no Mania Ababna when it comes to the art of speech. I find out for sure where Alduin has gone, and I also find out that the only way to get there is to trust a dragon. But Odoving is no Parthenax. He's a follower of whoever is strongest, and that